Welcome back, my friends. I got a good one for you tonight. Oh my goodness. We were already having so much fun chatting. I know.
Yeah, we've done half the stream.
Yeah.
Just sitting in the green room.
We did the show before this show.
Yeah.
We got monologuing. It was fun. I'm really excited to have you on the channel. Thanks for accepting my invitation. Ladies and gentlemen, a dungeon delver. And I'm guessing the Venn diagram is pretty much like I have a small circle inside your circle. On the off chance, however, that somebody is watching this channel that doesn't already know who you are, could you talk a little bit about? Well, let me do an icebreaker. I'll do an icebreaker question.
Okay.
When did you first start playing a nerd game? And what I mean by nerd game is like something that you think about when you're not playing it. Like, Monopoly, the pieces go back in the box and you put it on the shelf and nobody's like dreaming about Monopoly. What was your first game that like had you fascinated and thinking about it outside of the play space?
That would probably be Dungeons and Dragons 1980.
Okay.
When we first moved in state. My first D&D was a copy of Keep on the Borderlands.
Oh my God.
And a set of polyhedrons. I had no rule book. There is enough stuff in the Holmes edition of Keep on the Borderlands. That is the one that was designed to be played with the J.R. Holmes introductory Dungeons and Dragons set. And people don't believe me when I say that, yes, you could buy Keep on the Borderlands right off the shelf. And thank God, because if I had bought, I don't know, a copy of G1, a copy of God Help Me S1, there's nothing. There's just like, well, we assume since you're playing first edition AD&D that you know what you're. I looked at the module in the shrink wrap and it said, it's B, it's for beginners.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a beginner. It says introductory. It says, here's what you need to play. So yeah, let's go with this $4.99 and a set of dice for $1.99. And I was off to the races. And so
$4.99.
Yeah.
For Keep on the Borderlands.
For the first couple of years, that was my D&D, and I did obsess over it. My gaming group consisted of a friend of mine from up the apartment block and my sister. And I taught myself how to play D&D through just Keep on the Borderlands. Now there's stuff in there that's not rules wise what everything you need. There's no rules for leveling. And this was something I just like to throw this out there. We were generating stats, of course, stats between 3 and 18. I could not puzzle out how to generate a number between 3 and 18. So, because my pack of dice came with one 6-sider. So I just figured
the very first section in the DMG, right, is like all the math stuff. Yeah.
The curve and everything, which I found out later. But so I just said, okay, guys, roll a D20 and ignore 1 to 19 or 20.
Yeah, that works.
Which creates a much flatter curve. Much flatter curve. So that was the first nerd game that I obsessed over. Was a form of Dungeons and Dragons that existed kind of. If we think of AD&D as the inhabitable inner planets or somewhat inhabitable inner planets, I was probably somewhere out in the Oort cloud.
Okay. But what was it about it? Like, you just saw it and you picked it up and read it, and that's what got you thinking, or was it after your first session?
My school associates, I would hardly call them friends, because you got to understand, I was like 6 feet tall and 148 pounds when I was in 5th grade. I have been this big almost my entire life, and I had a thick Alabama accent.
Yeah,
just I mean, too thick to drip. And
too thick to drip. I like it.
We were
And where did you move? You moved from Alabama
we
to
moved from Alabama to Florida.
Florida. Okay.
And we moved into a suburb of Orlando, which to me, being from a small city in Alabama called Gadsden, moving to Orlando, it was this vast metropolis,
Yeah.
surrounded by these green suburbs and everything. And so I didn't know anyone, and we were not exceptionally well off at all. And I this is looking at this in the rearview mirror, it's hilarious. All the cool kids played Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Wow. In the 80s?
Yeah, well, I mean, in 1980, it was like and I realize now, and this is going to sound terrible of me, but all of the kids that I knew in elementary school who were into nerdy stuff and had Apple II computer, just all the Dungeons and Dragons books, and hey, my mom even plays D&D with us. They were all from split homes. And
split homes.
I should be careful about what I'm going to say, because if you or anyone else is from that, I know this is not the norm, but I wonder how much of that these guys have got everything was mom or dad trying to say, I'm the cool parent.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think that's a controversial statement. I think a lot of people have seen and experienced that as well. I've got a similar backstory. I was born in Richmond, Virginia. I moved up to Grand Rapids, Michigan in the 3rd grade, and I also had my accent mocked out of me. There's still a few words that I say that people raise their eyebrow at, but for the most part, if I went back down south, I get treated like a Yankee because I've been
same. When nobody believes I'm from Alabama until I've had a few beers or I've watched some I've watched some college football for a Saturday.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's going to church, and when "I'll Fly Away" comes up, that's when I
there you go.
When slip right back into that accent, baby.
Yeah, so here are all the cool kids playing D&D, and I remember it wasn't Keep on the Borderlands, but somebody, I think it was Anthony Florentino, had a copy. Sorry, I doxed you, Anthony. 40 how many ever years later, had a copy of Secret of the Slaver's Stockade. And they were passing it around at lunch, and I said, "Can I see that? Because it's this. Is this a comic book?
Yeah.
Is this what is this magazine?" And I start looking through it, and it's basically first person POV text. I hadn't even read Choose Your Own Adventures at this point. And so it starts talking about the character's will. There are goblins in this room. They will ring an alarm when, and then there's these cryptic strings of numbers. But I'm looking at, now I had started reading Tolkien back when I was 6 years old. So I understood the concept of fantasy and that sort of thing. Yeah. But this was visceral. This was going into, we're creeping into these caves and this fortress, and there's goblins, and there's these other things, and they're talking about magic swords, and why is there a plus and then a number after? What does all of this mean? And that God bless my parents for not sending me off to like some weird Christian Bible deprogramming place, because I was hooked. I was obsessed. And finally, we went to a local toy shop. It wouldn't mean anything to you, so I won't bother, but I could tell you the exact physical location, even though it is decades gone. And we walked in, and she had a wall, a huge, I think it may have been the TSR standee of
an embarrassment modules. Of riches.
Yeah, and I was just like, I don't know what to get. I have no idea what to get. And I didn't think I need a rule book. I thought I needed the thing that I saw the guys passing around. But obviously I got to have a starting place. And so Providence led me to pick that copy of Keep on the Borderlands. And there we go.
Right on. I feel like that one and the other one that was in the Into the Unknown, both of those were really, they had a lot of advice and help,
Mhm.
where I feel like if you'd have gotten that other one, you might have done just as well, as far as like not needing the rule books for a while.
Yeah. The B1 had the same center pullout and the
Mhm.
same kind of soft intro. What is it? Role-playing game?
Yeah,
How do you do it? That sort of thing. So B1, I think if I had grabbed either B1 or B2, I would have been fine. But I'm glad I got B2. That nice magenta cover just drew the eye.
Right on. Well, just the whole gaming thing. Like when I moved to Michigan, I talked funny and I didn't fit in, and I went to one school for a couple years, and then I switched to another school right in the middle of the school year. And my way in was actually, if you had a Nintendo Entertainment System and a copy of Mike Tyson's Punch Out, like they could be bullying you, right? Like you're up against your locker and they're like in your face, and you're just like, okay, man, but I can't figure out how to beat Soda Popinski. Like, oh, when he winds up, you got to push to the left, and then you hit him in the, and so it's like that was kind of like my way in was gaming, and so yeah, interesting that we have that in common. Now, mine was a video game, obviously, but still from around, the 80s, and relocating and trying to find an inroad.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that was really formational. Was that the word? Not sure the exact word I need right now, but I feel like I still use games to try to connect with people.
Yeah. I mean, and that's really the thing. And like, I'm not shy about mentioning this fact. My parents were caught up in that stupid moral panic in the 80s, right? So right about the time I was really getting into D&D and really coming to grips with it, they were like, let's just put this on a shelf and you don't handle these for a while.
Yeah. So
so
when you were
literally
most interested, it was like, this, you're bad for this.
Yeah. So my parents would go to the grocery store. They'd go to the shopping center or something like that on a Saturday. And I had tuned my ears to know exactly what their car sounded like in the parking lot. I'd sit there, I'd be like, screw that. And, I'd go through my D&D books, but I tried to get my fix other ways. So, if we went to Zayre's and bought, like this was after that, so a couple of years of spring, and then it froze, but the folks would go, we'd go to Zayre's and I'd have some allowance money to spend. So this was after the great video game crash. Everybody's dumping all their carts and stuff. So what to do? Venture this. Okay, it's got a sword and a dragon on the Safari cartridge, so I can get a D&D fix that way.
Yeah, right on. I'm just picturing like all the other kids were like putting Playboy under their shirts and stuff, and you're in there with Tomb of Horrors. Just
no, that stuff didn't. The Playboy and whatnot, that was a couple of years down the line, but no, so I tried to get my fix any other way I could. Fantasy themed video games, text adventures, because by 83 we had our first computer, a VIC-20, and I was anything fantasy themed I get for
like
that.
Zork and
if a copy of Compute's Gazette came out and there was a type in fantasy game, and that's fun. I only read D&D modules for the articles.
Good one, Vinny.
But yeah, if there was anything like that, I was trying to get my fix. And this comes back around to what you said about D&D building friendships and communities. Right as that was happening, my parents wigged out and became the weirdo religious types, and I couldn't ride my bike over to Joe's house and play Dungeons and Dragons. I couldn't have my high school age friends over to play D&D because, what are they getting up to? What's,
They were convinced
so
that you guys were going to murder each other in a graveyard overnight or something, right?
disappear into the storm drains.
Yeah.
We don't have steam tunnels here in Florida because it doesn't get cold, but disappear into the storm drains or something like that.
I know it caused a lot of trouble, but I honestly think playing D&D in the tunnels under Michigan State University sounds awesome.
Oh yeah. I'm working on a video. I don't want to give away too much, but I'm working on a video about that time, and there is some discussion specifically of Michigan State and D&D play in the steam tunnels. But I do want to give a quick shout out, Wheelan Occult and Doom Swords. Now I know Doom Swords is one of my Central Florida homies. We've met face to face many times, but Wheelan I don't think we've met over the internet or anything, Wheelan, but big shout out to a fellow Central Florida bro.
Right.
Sci-Fi City. I remember when it was called Enterprise 1701. It was in downtown Orlando off Mills, and I did buy something. I think it may have been miniatures or something when it was there. It was in this tiny little, like, the place in front. There were 3 parking spots. Mm-hmm. And the dry cleaner that was right around the corner from them wanted 2 of those. So if you were going to Enterprise 1701, you had to park somewhere else downtown and then leg it over there. But I surely do remember it. It was Enterprise 1701, and then it moved over near the Navy base. And when the Navy base closed down, they moved further out into the burbs. And they were Sci-Fi City for about a decade, and they've just kind of gradually diminished and gone into the west as the case may be.
So started with B2,
mm-hmm.
But the vintage Dungeon Master screen that is one of the centerpieces of your amazing set. I just got this black curtain. Like, let me do the zoomed out. You guys look at this place. You have an awesome setup. But when did you pick up 1E, and what was that game like for you, coming from what you had been playing?
So my sister got a job at a discount department store that was here in Florida called TGY or TG&Y. And I scrimped and saved because D&D was so pervasive that even what was effectively a dime store got D&D stuff in stock periodically.
Right on.
So I scrimped and saved. But I think the first hardback AD&D book I got, I got the basic set at TG&Y, and then I got the expert set at a Sears outlet store, and it felt like Christmas because
it was everywhere.
So there was a Christmas, and you can see, like, aging Gen Xers like me will share up pictures from the Sears Wish book from that time and the glorious spreads of TTRPGs. So from like 1982 into 1983, they were selling that stuff. So an outlet store, if you're not aware, was basically a scratch and dent store for Sears. And after Christmas one year, or it may have been right around then, they were choked with RPG stuff. I mean, just I remember seeing they had I used to go in and read the James Bond RPG stuff, and they had stuff from SPI and
nice.
Other companies just lying on the shelves. But I got my copy of Expert, the turquoise box at Sears. And so I had those, but I still felt like tonally it was not what I was seeing in friends' AD&D books. So I got a monster manual. I thought, okay, well, you just plug this into basic D&D, and that makes it advanced. But they were so weird, and they're talking about psionic ability. What even is that?
Yeah.
So then my sister got the job at TGY, and I got a Dungeon Master's Guide. And with those two basic sets and the two hardbacks I had later, 3-4 hardbacks, because my girlfriend bought me a copy of Deities and Demigods and then a copy of Monster Manual 2. So
nice.
But I never had a player's handbook. I just had to kind of take educated guesses with what was in the basic sets. So it was gradually over time, and I just kind of built this mental library of D&D knowledge. And I did get to play every now and again, once in a great while.
So you're picking stuff up from the other guys you were playing with.
I was picking stuff up from the other guys I was playing with. My parents knew I loved RPGs. They were still scared of Dungeons and Dragons. So for Christmas one year, young Bill got a copy of Star Frontiers. Nice. So I played a lot of Star Frontiers back then too. And around the middle of high school, I just kind of set it on a bookshelf and focused on other things. So there was a stretch there until like 1990 when I met this great group of guys, a bunch I'm still friends with, who lived in my neighborhood. I did not go to school with any of them. It just, one of them, Rob, ran a comic and game store. And I met a bunch of people, some people that I had gone to high school with, but did not know they were into TTRPGs. Okay. And so Rob's shared apartment with his roommates was the gaming house. So there was kind of a period, early high school to the end of high school, wasn't playing at all, didn't care. So I went over to the gaming house and I was like, cool, you guys play D&D? They had played D&D in college and were sick of it.
Oh my gosh.
So we played everything but D&D.
Oh,
Rollmaster, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, Mech Warrior, Hero System was huge for them. So, but it was so nice to get this frat gaming house.
The clubhouse.
Yeah. And it was such a transitional time in history. But at that point, I was like, now I want you to brace yourself, Dunder Moose. This is the unhappy turn.
All right, I'm ready.
If nobody wants to play D&D, why should I keep these books? They went to the used bookstore. The money went to beer. And I didn't even blink.
You were just done.
I was just done. And I have now, I mean, you pointed this out. This is not a set, by the way. This is not like, oh, I'm going to position this stuff just so I want it so people can see it, but I use all of this stuff.
Yeah.
This is all active live gaming stuff I've got around me.
How much of it is not on camera? Like, do you live in a Harlan Ellison house, or is it do you have like the man corner?
I mean, I have a shelf of shame just out of shot over there. That's unpainted minis and stuff, and I have stuff that's a little bit out of frame. But yeah, it's pretty much all here in my studio space.
Cool.
So
so you sold your books.
I sold my books, and I would, if somebody came to me and could prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, chain of evidence, and say, these are the books you sold back in 1991, 92, will you trade them for your no, nothing autographed, but like I have a true first player's Monster Manual and Dungeon Master's Guide up there.
Wow.
That I found at a local used bookstore for like $2 each.
Nice.
But if somebody said these are the books from then, and like I think I wrote my name in a few of them. I know some of them had quirks on, you know, in them, stains and that sort of thing. I just might trade them for that. For sentimental reasons, but
right on.
But so a few years went by. I gamed with those guys, and I guess it was around 96 or 97. We had moved, and the moving philosophy is if you move from place A to place B and you bring boxes from place A to place B, and when you get settled in place B, you don't open those boxes like for a year, get rid of them. You don't need them.
Yeah, exactly.
So I start opening boxes, and I found the one thing I didn't get rid of, my copy of Keep on the Borderlands.
Oh, nice. So you've got the one where it began.
It was like a surge of lightning through my hands. And I had gone over to a friend's house. He had played a one-off D&D game. See, I completely missed second edition coming in at all.
Yeah.
So when we went over and played D&D, it was nothing like what I'd remembered, but he had 1E books. He freely mixed 1E and 2E and said, yeah, if you want to work on your character, you can borrow a player's handbook. So this is the first time I've ever owned a PHB. So I'm sitting there looking at this copy of B2 and the PHB, and I was just like, I got to go back. I got to go back.
The call to adventure.
And
you as long as you could.
I reached out to Paul Stormberg, who I did not know personally at that time, but he auctioned things on Usenet. He ran auctions.
Usenet.
Yeah. And I was just like, I just want a set of AD&D books. I don't want anything special. I don't want collector's editions. There was this thing called eBay that had just started up a few years before. And us Gen Xers had just started cleaning out our attics and our closets of this stuff. And I was seeing the prices on eBay, and I'm like, look, man, and he said, okay, I've got a bundle here. And I think I paid the princely sum of like $40 for a stack of the classic modules that were just falling apart.
Nice.
A Dungeon Master's Guide, a Player's Handbook, a Monster Manual. I picked up a Fiend folio at a used bookstore later. And a guy on the news group, because I said, okay, I didn't get this. Now, to give your audience just an idea of how much things have changed, I said, I'm looking for a Deities and Demigods that has the Elric and Cthulhu stuff in. And a guy says, what do you take in trade? And I was like, what are you looking for? And he's like, you would happen to have a copy of these two Cyberpunk 2020 books and $20. I was like, sure. So,
nice.
So I just gathered up all this stuff. Well, here's the thing. Since that, I had an unexpurgated Deities back when I was a kid. I have owned 15 copies of Deities and Demigods. Only one of them has been expurgated. It's not a rare book. It is not a rare book.
I've got the expurgated one. I don't have the original.
I will send you a link after this, or I can even put it up on the screen because I don't care. It's unobtainium, to an absolutely gorgeous PDF of it.
All right, chuck it in the private chat, and I'll throw it.
Yeah, I will do that right now. But I mean, you guys can send that to Lulu and get a nice softback or even hardback copy. It's not going to be the same, but again, it is. If Wizards of the Coast said, "Hey, we've cut a deal with Chaosium and we're gonna print this again," I wouldn't do this. They're never going to. Wizards of the Coast does not give any fucks about first edition. But anyway,
well, I even have a POD from them. It's the paperback, but also does not have all of the original stuff. So you're right. They don't worry about that.
Yeah, yeah. So they're never going to do any more than the absolute bare minimum for classic D&D. I mean, the 50th just went back.
Yeah.
Or just went by the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. They did a hack job against Gary, and that was fucking it.
Yeah.
That was it.
I think that bent a lot of people out of shape. And I had a guy on recently, Dominic Martin. He is writing a history of D&D going back to the original sources with an unbiased look at it, not trying to take social justice issues from today, but just saying, here's what it was like. Here's what these guys came up with. And I think there's an appetite for people that don't want to be preached to about modern audiences. They just want to know what happened, how did it go down, where can we just appreciate the people that brought us this hobby, the geniuses that came up with something the world had never seen before, an entirely new media. All right, I'm copying the link.
All right,
and it's going out, and we'll see what YouTube does with that.
Yeah, I've shared it a lot on my live stream, and they never have. And guys, if you look down towards the lower right, I know that's people frantically clicking that now. Look underneath it on the right hand side, and there's download options. There's PDF, all sorts of formats. You can get that in, and you can just, like I said, you can send it to Lulu. And this is a very lovely scan, extremely well done. So and yes, it has Elric and Cthulhu and all that stuff in it.
Count Zero, exactly right. He says they think they're better, but they don't realize they're standing on the shoulders of giants.
Oh, unquestionably.
And Macho Mandolf says, I got my Cthulhu DDG earlier in the year after sweating on eBay for a year. It was 10 kilometers away from my house. Rock on, Macho.
That's awesome. But yeah, so I got bit bad again. I slowly
right back in.
I gathered the books back up, and I had never been a what you would call back in the day a Gary Gygax fan. His name was on the stuff.
Yeah.
And I recognize that name, and wow, there's this guy Gary Gygax. So I'm sitting around. It's like 1999. I've started reacquiring AD&D. I'm playing it now. I'm loving it. I'm encountering edition wars for the first time.
I can't imagine what that was like when 2E came out and it was the first. Was that the first edition war? Was 2E, or was there one between basic and first edition?
I don't. There, as far as I know, there wasn't one back then. I will say that there was a very hostile on-campus scene. I am told. I was not there. I think it was at UCLA, or maybe
this is 96. Are you still in high school at this point, or had you graduated?
No. 96. I'm a professional. I'm out there in the world, But back in the 70s, when Dungeons and Dragons first came out, there was this hostile schism. I want to say it was either at MIT or UCLA, one of the Brainiac schools, between hobby war games groups when the supplements started dropping. So when Greyhawk came out and Blackmore and stuff like that, there were purists who were like, no, this is power gaming. So yeah, edition wars, even back then. But yeah, it's I don't remember what time of year it was. I feel like it was fall-ish, maybe. I'm not sure. And I'm just sitting there, and I fire up Alta Vista. You remember the Alta Vista search engine? And I said, what is Gary Gygax's email address? And it was ggygax@genevaonline.com. And I was like, he's not going to respond. And I sent an email. Wow, is this Gary Gygax? And like, 20 minutes later, he pings me back, and yep, it's me.
Nice.
And from that, I basically I started corresponding with him. I ended up doing an interview with him on the telephone in 2002,
Nice.
which that audio is uploaded on my channel. You can check that out if you haven't. And from there, around 2004, I met him in person in Milwaukee in the summer of 2004. So it was probably 2005. He started going on his Yigsburg project, which was all of his Greyhawk stuff converted for Castles and Crusades.
Right on.
And he had tons of notes. And he knew he didn't have time to write it all. He knew his health was not great. So he basically hired a bunch of people, and I was one of the people who put my hand up.
Right on, man.
So I ended up writing a bunch of stuff, which with his death will probably never be published.
Oh man.
Yeah, about 120,000 words. But I worked with him. I really enjoyed being able to correspond with him. And I was crushed when he passed. It was a shock. But in moving forward with that, I've had websites, I've written articles for and adventures and that sort of thing. I've just kind of
this wasn't just a hobby. Like, you lived this stuff, man. Like, you got all the way in.
Now, what is the line from Apocalypse Now? I wanted a mission, and for my sins, they gave me one.
Yeah.
I ended up, I ended up going down that rabbit hole. I met Gary. I met Gary's family. I met Rob Kuntz. I met so many TSR alums. I just a week ago, I was for EggCon, Gary Gygax. It was his birthday.
Yeah.
And Heidi Gygax, his daughter, and her husband, Eric Garland, they put together a little mini convention. Well, I hope it's not a mini convention. I hope it becomes huge.
I was watching your shorts when you were kind of broadcasting from there.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. And hey, I just all of the stuff, people are like, oh my gosh, how did you meet Alan Hammock? Oh my gosh, how did you meet Rob Kuntz? How did you meet Gary Gygax? I cyber stalked them.
Yeah.
I henpecked and harassed them. Let me tell you what, I have invited so many TSR alums, and so many of them have come back and said, yes, I would love to do your show.
Oh yeah. They're amazing.
And yeah, it's, it's so cool. And some of them have just flat out said, no, thank you.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I interviewed Gary on the phone. Dave Sutherland, which, if you know your first edition AD&D, an incredible artist. Dave Sutherland was very ill in the early 2000s. Wizards of the Coast had fired him. Which was an exceptionally scummy thing to do, but and
not the
someone
last time they were going to do something scummy.
Yeah.
I'll bet.
No. Someone reached out to Dave and said, hey, you've still got fans out there. And he said, well, that's cool. You know what? People can contact me if you want to call me. And I said, cool. I should do that. I'm going to call. He's going to be my next interview. I just got to remember to do that. And he passed away. And Jim Rosseloff, who did that gorgeous piece of art on the cover of Keep on the Borderlands, and then the owl bear on the in leaf of Keep on the Borderlands. Jim Rosseloff, I reached out to him. Hey, I would love to interview you for my little website. And he was like, yeah, that would be great. And I was like, cool. I will send you back some details, and we'll make that happen.
Right on.
I let time get past. He passed away. the point behind what is this very sad, astounding story is talk to these guys.
Yeah.
Talk to them. If you go to a con, let me tell you something. Errol Otis is one of the most unpresupposing guys. He is mellow, chill dude. So is Jeff Easley. So is Alan Hammock. So is Harold Johnson. So is Mike Mornard. Just
I've
so
heard Dave
many
McGarry is awesome too. Just really fun.
I have met Dave, and I haven't had a chance to sit and talk to Dave, and I need to do that. So it is literally just talk to them, you know. And that you think about other things that you loved when you were a kid. Like, could you have just said, you know, oh, Mr. Lucas, I have your house phone number. You wouldn't mind talking to me on the phone for,
right.
Of course not. Of course he's not going to do that. Or, you know, and I'm not saying he's not a nice person, but like, or Stan Lee, you know, hey, Stan, I run a website that has over 10 visitors a week. Would you do an interview with me? And of course he's going to be like, no, thanks, kid. You know?
Yeah. Well, I remember I wrote back in the 90s when I was in high school, I wrote a fan letter to Harry Harrison because I was really enjoying his stainless steel rap books. And I got back a card that said, you know, thanks for the letter. It really helps during the long days when the morale sags, but there's only so many writing hours in the day. And, you know, I can't respond to each one of them. But then he, you know, signed it. And
that's
so it's like not everybody can, but that is one of the unique things. Like Rob Kuntz has been on my show, and I think I probably only had like 500 subs when he did, but he was willing to come on my show. He's in France, so it was like
Corsica, I think.
Different time zone. He was still willing to come on, and the dude, even after the show, we like spent another hour talking afterwards. And just
Rob is a college level education in stuff. When
there's a few people like him and Alexander McCrease where like when I'm talking to them, I'm like, I don't know if I'm smart enough to be doing this interview.
oh yeah, unquestionably. That's same vibe. When I have talked to Rob on the phone, and it was the same thing. Like we wrapped up after the live stream. And Rob and I just kind of sat there and chewed the fat. Rob's steel trap mind. I mean, I can't even tell you, like, he's like, oh yeah, Bill, I remember when we met at the Milwaukee Game Fest in 2004, you were sitting next to so-and-so and you were wearing that dark green polo shirt and denim shorts. You looked a little tired because you'd just flown up from Florida. I just spilling this minutia that he has absorbed from everything.
Good memory.
Talking, Rob will talk to you, but you better listen.
Mm-hmm. I did. I don't know if I said 10 words on that whole. I was just like,
So
I had one question, got him going, kind of like this is going. Asked one question, got the thing going, and then I just basked.
And another thing too about this is like I'm friends with Tracy Lesh. Tracy, now this is not an original, but he did this piece of art behind me here.
Nice.
That was to have been the first color art for Dungeons and Dragons. TSR passed on it, but same thing. When I found out that Tracy at the time lived literally just up the highway from me here in Central Florida, I was like, dude, let's go to my favorite comic shop. I'll buy you a beer there. And you know, I met Tracy. I became friends with Tracy. When Tracy got to go up to GaryCon, they had a table for him. It wasn't like, you know, well, you can get a table at GaryCon if you want. This is like on Artist Alley. We have a table for you. And he was like, I had no idea people still remembered that I had done all this art for TSR.
Wow.
The importance of talking to these folks. Look, watch my interviews, watch Dunder Moose's interviews, listen to other people's podcast. Errol's been on other shows than mine. It's fine, but take the time to listen. And if you see them at a con, let me tell you something. The artist Darlene, we all know Darlene's art, beautiful pieces in the Dungeon Master's Guide, Jasmine, everything else.
Yeah.
If she's got a minute to sit down and talk to you, she will tell you the most intriguing and wonderful story. She's the first TSR alum I ever interviewed, and I adored every minute of that. I would love to have her back on the stream. That was back in the spring of 2020 during the lockdowns when I first started what became the Delver's Dungeon live stream show.
That, something you just said really resonated with me that I hadn't thought of before. And that is not just the things that you can learn by talking to these people, but it never occurred to me that they would not perceive how much their stuff is still enjoyed, that there's still fans out there that like really get a kick out of their work and stuff. And that's worth it too, just to talk to them, just to let them know that, hey, I still get a kick out of the stuff that you made, and you still have fans out here.
When I was up at EggCon, we had like a full hotel, it was a hotel room, but if you've ever been to the Cove in Lake Geneva, which is not that far from you, why don't you go over there?
I do need to. I need to go.
I've
never been to a gaming convention. I haven't been to any of them yet. So I'm like,
go over to AgCon this coming summer, for God's sake.
I am looking to try to get to Arnicon to hang out with some of the Blackmore bunch and meet Griff in person. And
So EggCon, Arnicon, whatever, get out there and do it. But they roomed me with Alan Hammock. And like Alan telling stories about getting literally not being able to drive it, like having to walk a mile in like this deep snow through downtown Lake Geneva to get back to his apartment. And just the crazy stories about dealing with this person and working on that project and stuff like that. All of this, if all you care about is rolling dice and like the names on the books don't matter to you, the windows that they opened could have been done by anybody as far as you're concerned, I can't really make people understand how cool all of that knowledge is. But Paul ran the original Ghost Tower of Inverness that Alan Hammock had written. It's different from the one that's published.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, Alan sold his notes to Paul, and Paul worked them up into a full module, and we got to play that at EggCon. And I mean, learning like.
Well, which one's better in your opinion? The published one or the bootleg, the director's cut?
The director's cut.
Oh,
they're so
that. I was hoping you were going to say no. The one everybody can play
stuff. There's so much fun stuff in there.
Okay.
And so
now I gotta hunt that down. Thanks for that, bro.
You're gonna have to go game with Paul. You're basically
well, there's some of that stuff where it's like that's the only way is to go to these places, hang out with these people, and have those experiences. And like you say, that's not an open-ended forever thing. You got to jump on it while you can.
Absolutely. So, hey, St. Cuthbert, it was good to see you two up there. Joe Kaufman, is that version available? I know Paul has published some stuff.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't know about that.
I've heard that sometimes like people that have things like that, they'll like just print up a few to bring with them to the con and they'll sell it to you, kind of just a deal right there. It doesn't get published necessarily, but like, I got a buddy that was really interested in Strategos N, and he went to DaveCon and was able to pick up a copy there. But it's not like it's not on websites, it's not on Amazon. You just got to go, and if they want to sell you something, then just be like, I would like one of those, please.
And that is why, like, if it's I'm sorry. Look, I my ethos on my live stream channel is, look, I don't care how much we might hate Wizards of the Coast. When somebody's like, yeah, I want the 1E books, I want to, I want to get copies that are in good shape. I don't want to pay an arm and a leg. Well, buy the PDFs and get them printed. I don't want to give money to Wizards of the Coast. You know where I can download them for free? No, I don't. That's piracy. I have stuff that I have written for money that I receive money for. I don't want it pirated. I can't be a hypocrite about it. But if we're talking about the original Lost Caverns of Sojkamp, I have a PDF of that around here somewhere.
Yeah.
If we're talking about,
you can't get to,
the tournament copies of modules, you will never own one. I will never own one. If the value of one of those just appeared in a stack of 20s in the middle of my table, I would spend the money to get our family car working again. I certainly wouldn't run out and buy the mod. And if the module appeared in the middle of my table, I would probably sell it to get the money to get our car running again, because there's a lot of the unobtainium that's out there that you can grab for free.
Information wants to be free, and if there's no other source,
there is Bro Sweet at Egg.
All right, so that's it. Marinus, couple of adventures. Thanks for the $2. We I don't know if EggCon's ready for the Broasar to invade like that, but I have, and I've told Griff this, like, I know that on X things get really heated, but I definitely feel like the spirit of innovation and the respect for the source material, I feel like the bros have a lot in common with the gamers that are showing up at these things. So I know everyone tells me, I'm like the guy that, like, when there's a fight, like, he stands between them and says, can't we all be friends? And so I'm going to get black eyes on both sides, but I have that glorious future where the Broasar and the Blackmore bunch link arms and do the monkey walk down the hallway. But
can't we come together as OD&D fans?
That's right.
AD&D 1E fans, right. AD&D 2E fans, even fans of D20 D&D and 2014 5E fans, and the Bro SR, and those of us who actually enjoy playing D&D. So much trouble for that. Can't we all just link arms and come together and beat the shit out of the 4E players? Well, can't we just do that?
I've tried to be a peacemaker, and at the end of the day, wargamers are gonna wargame, and so it's like, as long as everyone's having fun bagging on each other, it's like, all right.
We are programmed to accept nothing less than a total victory condition. I mean, so I played Chainmail Saturday morning at EggCon for the first time ever, and I was one of like 4 on a side. And we won. We just skin of our teeth. But I mean, we were like, I don't know. We we might want to concede. And the dirty looks I got from my teammates for that.
How very dare you say that word?
How absolutely dare you, sir? so yeah.
Hang on it, bro. We've been talking for almost an hour. I've been having so much fun in this conversation. We haven't even brought up the whole point. Like, I put Crom in the description.
Dude, I do this like near 3 hours sometimes if I get to go.
Well,
so
we're on StreamYard tonight. We are not on EV Mux, so I'm not going to get a countdown timer when we get close to 2 hours.
Woohoo!
I've been doing the free stuff. I've been cheap. And with EV Mux, I can have 10 people on the screen at one time for free, and but it cuts you off at 2 hours. So, Marinus with the other $2. Thanks again, bro. Elf and Appendix N enjoyers to share beauty and song. I believe in that future, man. It's gonna happen.
That is. Happen. I don't know if you caught Jack's stream earlier today or the replay of it.
I didn't. I love that guy though. Jack McCarthy.
Jack Lost Lore Scholar. Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't love that guy. I'm not. I don't know. I've interacted with him. I'm not pro or against. I don't know him well enough to be, but I've enjoyed the interactions I have had with him.
He's a very cool young man, and he embraces the old school ethos. We were BSing today, and we were talking about elves and Appendix N.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, so you had a question for me about something.
Yeah. Let me just get my ear trumpet has been struck by lightning. There's $1. Thanks, bro. Not the only Aussie in the chat today. Macho Mandolf is also from the land down under. Yes. Where is it? So I have a product that is totally now obsolete thanks to you. But basically, for those that don't play 1E, the problem with it is that Gary was very specific about not letting the players know what's in the DMG or even the monster manual, like to the degree where he said, and now again, this is the print that I'm going by. I know there's all kinds of raging arguments about what he actually believed or that kind of thing. But in the print that we have in 1E, he says that you as a DM are allowed to like take away their magic items if you get an inkling that they have cheated and read the DMG, right?
Yes.
So what my little guy does is for character creation, I call it Dunder Moose's 20 flip-in steps to roll up a 1E PC. And it's because you have to flip back and forth between the player's handbook and the Dungeon Master's Guide, because there's certain sections to get a complete character where you need to go back and forth. Like, there's stuff that the player just wasn't allowed to know. But in order to roll a character, like you either need to have your DM there to do it with you, or you need something like this where mine, and it doesn't it's got a few little jokey, quips. But then it just basically says, here's the order that you go in. And it has like, whether it's in the DMG or whether it's in the PHB and what page it's on. So it kind of guides you through that. But even using this, it still takes a long time to roll up a character. And as you may or may not know, 1E can be quite lethal at times. So you might have to find yourself rolling up more than one character. Did you have any pain points with this when you envisioned Crom? Were you just like, I love 1E, but like taking an hour out of each game night to get the new people up and rolling? Like, what was the impetus for creating Crom?
Well, okay, so I absolutely adore
where Yerby says paper instructions. That's so pre-Crom.
Yes. But no, I love the two old DOS applications, the Dungeon Master's Assistant Volume 1 and Volume 2. They are very, very handy. They are also very, very old. They date back to the end of first edition AD&D. I mean, they came out for platforms such as the Apple Macintosh 128, the Commodore 64, the IBM PC Junior, and the Commodore Amiga. That's how old they are. So I use them through DOSBox and everything like that, but they're creaky. And there are things that the character's part of the Dungeon Master's Assistant don't do. And one of those is not just character creation. I tell people, look, if all you want to do is generate a character, if that's it, if you don't give a fig beyond, look, man, I just need a 5th level magic user. Okay.
Yeah. There
are web applets to do it. You can grab the PDF of what do you call it? The Rogues Gallery.
Yeah.
And just look one up in there.
I have it over here somewhere.
Yeah, you can grab that and leaf through it and find what you need. Or again, you can scrape abandonware sites, run an emulator, run DOSBox, what have you, to get Dungeon Master's Assistant Volumes 1 and 2 working. That's absolutely fine. What they don't do is they don't help you when you've got to level your character up, when your character loses a point of strength because they age, when your character gains wisdom because they age, when you really want to know with a quickness how much stuff you're carrying.
Encumbrances.
And one of the biggest impetuses was it didn't do it, the Dungeon Master's Assistant and none of the other creators out there, they don't do psionics, they don't do bards. And I said, I knew a little tiny bit of Python, and I sat down and I said, okay, how do I randomize 3d6 in Python? Oh, like this. Okay. How do I hold those values through? Like this. Okay. How do I do method 2 and just slowly on? Okay. Now that I've created that, how do I write that out as a text file? How do I write that out as HTML? How do I create a save file that I can load back in later and change things around?
Nice.
What happens if I change alignment? What happens if I lose a level due to level drain?
Yeah, level drain.
Level drain was...
I bet that was a killer.
Woo! Well, the real like beat my head against the wall feature was, without a doubt, hands down, percentile strength.
Oh,
and it had nothing to do with percentile strength as presented in AD&D. It had everything to do with percentile. It had everything to do with my my routines that generated percentile strength. They would fire every time the page would redraw. So it's like you'd create your character 1861 for your fighter. Cool. You'd save it. You'd load it. Wait, now I have 1807.
Yeah.
Okay, let me buy some equipment. Maybe that's a glitch. And you come back and it's 1842.
Yeah.
And then
I tried to
up.
do something in Excel once, and with random rolls. And the problem is every time you do anything, they all re-roll immediately.
It would fire again. So I basically, I Googled just a ton of stuff about Python. And I got to, I asked ChatGPT. ChatGPT was more than happy to help me create some bits of code that went in there. So basically just a little bit at a time. And the impetus for doing it again was creating something that wasn't just a character generator, because God knows there's a billion character generators out there. There's people who've written Excel sheets. There's people you can use a rogues gallery. There's one on Dragon's Foot. You can download the Dungeon Master's Assistant and do it that way. This is not a character generator alone. This is a character manager. This is from infancy to retirement. And because of the way it works, if you've got a beloved paper character, but it's like it's grease stained, you've rubbed through the hit points to the point where there's almost a hole in the page, you can put it in there and with a little bit of tweaking have a nice electronic copy of your favorite characters.
I love that.
It is 100% first edition AD&D rules compliant. It is 100% first edition AD&D feature incorporated. And when I talk about first edition AD&D, I refer to the Dungeon Master's Guide and the Player's Handbook. People have asked me, hey, are you ever going to open this up so we can do modules of homebrew characters, or will you include my homebrew, or are you going to make it so we can plug in Unearthed Arcana and the the classes from Dragonlance and special stuff from this, that, and the other. And I'm like, guy, I had to just draw a hard line, because if I started.
Hey, thanks for doing all that work, man. Can you do a bunch more for my whims?
Yeah, exactly. And some of the funny feedback I've gotten, and I think this is kind of humorous. I don't take this as like, I'm not mocking the people who do this. And I just I tell people the user manual for Crom is the player's handbook.
Right on, man.
Like, how do I do X? Look at the player's handbook. You already own a manual.
I can tell you what page it's on too.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So we've already. I feel like we're comfortable with each other. We've gotten a little bit edgy, and so maybe I'll say something that could be considered controversial.
Let's hear it. Let's get some controversy.
I put it in the packaging for this video because, well, obviously you get more clicks when people are mad, but I was thinking of the comparison to D&D Beyond, because I have played with many players of 5e who, if there was a power outage, they would not be able to continue playing their game because they never read the rules to create the character. They never they just boop boop boop, and then they're ready to play. And you know what? No shade. Everyone's busy. You know, the hobby, you can only go in as deep as you got the time and focus and energy to go. But I do wonder, part of the difficulty, I think, that maybe not a whole lot of people are talking about with prying people away from 5e to try any other version. Come on, guys, any other version. I think part of it may be that they're just dependent on the tool. And so I wonder if you had thoughts about that as you were making a character manager for 1E, saying, okay, if this is a speed bump, may I remove this from you and say that I've got an electronic version that you can carry around on your computer, and you don't need to do the math. You just do a couple buttons and you're good.
First of all, good night, Kabuki. Have a lovely evening. But yes, part of the impetus for Crom was the removal of that barrier of
there's a lot of gurring and arguing in the chat as I was saying that. Low growls.
Well, there you go. But my one of my impetuses, I don't know my Latin, would it be impeti? I don't know. But
no,
yeah,
that's definitely
no,
not
that's something different.
Something else.
Romans, they go the house. But no, one of the driving things behind this for me was to make it easy to create a character, you know, just like that.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, kind of a cool thing to be able to do, particularly.
Really cool.
Yeah. And I was I was just determined to make something that would make it easy to create characters. I think I did a demo once live here, and I made a character in 5 minutes. I mean, fully kitted out, everything, bing, bang, boom, saved it to HTML, and went back and saved it to text.
I didn't see that one, but I watched the one that you did with Timothy Immelt. And he wanted a wizard, which I think he picked that on purpose because he knew those guys take a little longer to roll up. And I timed it, and you didn't like go super fast with him because you guys were having a conversation as you did it, and he took a little bit of time trying to pick a name. But it was like pretty much 18 minutes, and you could tell him how encumbered he was. You could tell him all of the spells, and it wasn't a level 1 guy. You did a level 6 wizard with the guy in 18 minutes. That was remarkable to me, because I feel like the two areas that slow down the most in doing it analog is number one, picking spells takes forever, because you gotta roll to see which ones you get, and then you gotta figure out how many you can know and all that kind of stuff. Well, I guess it depends on how you do it. In 1E, you don't really get to choose spells, do you? You just roll and get what you get. You don't get upset. But the other one is, I feel like picking out their their equipage, you know, like the clothes. Am I going to get the high hard boots or am I going to get the low soft ones? You know, like all of that stuff. And it is just, I feel like, especially for people if it's their first time playing, if you can take that barrier out of the way and just get them into the game quicker, they can see how good it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you can make something as easy entry as you know, going to a con and sitting down, you know, it's like, okay, guys, I guess talk amongst yourselves, me and Dunder Moose. You're going to be a fighter, but, and I mean, a good DM can say, oh, okay, Dunder Moose, welcome to the table. You're a fighter, you're strength 16. That means you're +1 to hit, just intelligence 10, wisdom 10, dexterity 14, constitution 17. So you've got 3+ on your hit points, charisma 9. You're wearing plate, you have shield, you have a +1 longsword, a potion of healing, 50 feet of rope, couple of torches, flask of oil. You're writing all this down, aren't you? You know,
and I got plus 10% on my XP when I level up, right?
Yes, exactly. So
yeah.
So but I've I just I wanted to make it as fast as that, but also give the person something. With it being a text file, let's say, you know, you do sit down at home. Okay, I'm going to shoot this to you. They can open it on their phone, or HTML. They can open it on their phone, and they're ready to go. And Bob Jester, equipment and encumbrance takes the longest for you. This literally handles every aspect of that as you go. But the one thing is between those phases of wrapping up your character, doing this and that, there's going to be times when you've got to scratch on a sticky note 632 XP question mark.
Yeah.
You know, but then when the dust settles, you can sit down, open up Crom, and plug that in. If you're, say, fighter, magic user, thief, it's going to take the 633 XP and divide it evenly across.
Nice.
211, 211, 211. And it is just it's just the idea of that mix of analog and digital. You know, you've got a digital tool to use for bookkeeping. You know, you had a digital character creation, but now you've got your paper sheet.
Yeah.
And then when you go and you sit back down, or on the flip side, the DM, look, you know, I know, everybody out there in the audience knows, you have players, they play with heart, they enjoy the game, you enjoy their company, they enjoy yours, they're not distractive, they pay attention as best they can, and they will look straight at you and say, what did my character have?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you say, okay, how many XP have you got? And they're like, well, the last time I wrote it down was.
Or they wrote it on a scratch note, and then they have their character sheet, but they don't remember where they put the piece of paper that had all the stuff. Brian Renninger asks, what did you do for starting spells for illusionists?
So starting spells for illusionists is interesting. I basically just kind of tried to figure out what would constitute good starting spells for illusionists and built it up from there.
My first ever 1E character, I had a gnome illusionist thief, and I rolled Phantasmal Forces at level 1, and I was over the moon. Well, actually, I wasn't, because I didn't know how good that spell was, because I didn't know anything. But then when I found out what it did, I was over the moon.
So what I'll do real quick here is let me
if you want to share screen.
Let me do this. Now this
there.
is not the latest build of Crom. I actually let's see one, and we'll just default. let me. Oh, I have 2 copies running, so I'll just close that one. And yeah, we just rolled out. I've got a whole programming team. I just rolled out Crom 1.5R today, which fixed some small but nasty bugs that a couple of users caught. And I encourage people, hey, look, you find something in there that is not doesn't track, you let me know. So I mean, this, here's the interface. So we'll create. We'll do method 3. That's
my favorite. Mine even says on my little pamphlet here. Oh, where did I put it?
My God, these are great stats.
Look at that.
15, 15, 15, 16, 18, 16. I mean, we're going to play whatever the hell we want.
Yeah. It says there are 4 methods, but if your DM's a Chad, he'll make you use method 3. I like method 3 because since it's so random, it forces you to try to pick a class that matches what you've randomly rolled, and it forces you to learn more of the game. I don't know how many times I've been in games where somebody's character died and then their twin brother with just 1 letter different in their name shows up with their same stats, and this basically they just wanted to keep playing their guy, right? But this is like, well, I can't be a thief again because I got no dexterity, so I guess I'm going to try something else, right? So What did we get? Oh man.
So we're gonna do human because humanocentric, baby.
I'm gonna get our faces out of the way.
Okay. So we are human.
18 Constitution.
Right. But I want to answer the illusionist question. So let's do 6. No exceptional strength. I'm an illusionist. We're just gonna stick with 1.
Brian says that character is going for Bard.
I should have kept these stats for Bard. I'm not going to worry about this right now.
Right.
Now, one of the overlooked features that I think people don't realize is you don't have to buy equipment or pick your weapons proficiencies at the start of character creation. If you have money and you have open proficiencies, when you get to the character worksheet, you can look at what you have to spend and then decide on weapons proficiencies accordingly. Because it's all well and good to say, oh, 2-handed swords and the most expensive pole arms and the most expensive bow, those are my weapons proficiencies. And then you're like, you have 90 gold to start.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
And then on your first mission in the first dungeon, you find a magic mace. And you're like, yeah,
exactly.
I should have saved one.
So we can be done for now and say yes. And so here we are. Now rolling for offensive spell, I rolled a 1. That means I get to pick, and there's 7 spells there.
Number 6, please.
Number 6, Phantasmal Force. Absolutely. And then we get let's see, defensive spells available. Not a lot of defensive spells. Let's do light. And let's see, and miscellaneous. Let's go for detect invisibility.
I don't know, man. I played in a game where detect illusion would have helped a lot because we were fighting someone else who was using phantasmal forces on us and took us quite a while to figure it out. But anyway, keep going.
All right, so we're done.
Seymour James wants to know, who is this moose guy? This is Dunder Moose. That's who he is.
Dunder Moose. I owe you a trip over to my channel, by the way. We're going to have you as a guest.
Sounds good, man.
So let's check for psionics. Let's just see, because it's the thought that counts.
Yeah, I know with these stats.
All right. No ability score, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma exceeds 16.
Oh, okay.
No psionic
there
potential.
is not even a chance.
Not even a chance. So so there we go. I just picked lawful good because that's where my hand is at on the keyboard. Name for your character, Henning.
I will call him Gunder Moose.
Go Gunder Moose. You know what?
Gunder Moose with a T on the end.
Gunder Moose. All right, and we will save this as HTML.
There you go.
Default Dunder Moose. Yes. And let's load and Dunder Moose. And that takes us over to the worksheet.
Oh, man. That's
And
got to
here
be a
we go.
record. Look at that. Look at that. A full-on 1E illusionist.
And we stopped to goof. We
Yeah.
stopped to
We were
goof
cracking
for a
up and
minute.
stuff. I interrupted
Yeah.
you with a, yeah.
And I mean, we do have some money. We can go in now and buy equipment. No, not.
Yeah, and show them how the equipment shows, like the list shows up, right?
Yeah. So if we purchase equipment, armor, clothing, herbs, livestock, miscellaneous equipment and items, provisions, religious items, tack and harness, transport, or shop for weapons, all of the categories that are in the player's handbook right here. So,
what's your, as a DM, what's your thought on clothing? Because I've heard some say, well, I assume that they're not just showing up naked to town, that they would have.
Yeah,
clothes.
you didn't just walk into the Keep on the Borderlands Starkers, you know.
You have any weapons on you? What do your eyeballs tell you? I got nothing, man. Philistine among us.
I figure the clothes are for those cases when, you know, the green slime dropped on you.
Yep.
You survived, but the party like has to hastily make a large sack into a robe for you. And God, that thing's itchy. So they'll get you back to town as quick as they can.
Did we ever get like stats for the difference between high hard boots and low soft ones? Because I'm imagining in my head canon the low soft are better for thieves and sneaking. The high hard are good for soldiers and marching. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're a ranger and you're wearing like ringmail, you know, high soft boots,
but
you know
those things take forever to peel off if they get wet, though, right?
Oh yeah, unquestionably. But yeah, you know, if we go to say, you know, you're a paladin, you're wearing the plate. It's high hard boots, man.
Yep, gotta be
know, all the time, every time.
Boots of mincing. Oops,
boots of mincing.
Hard is better for resisting spike traps. Oh, I hadn't thought about that fluid.
But yeah, so you know, we can look at my favorite category is miscellaneous.
Okay, yeah, and boom,
there it is. Everything is in gold pieces. Because I was literally going bonkers. I did this. I did this part very late at night into the wee hours in the morning, and I was just like, F this, it's all in gold pieces. I could not make the math.
The variability. Work. Yeah.
The variability.
So if I get number 28, some iron spikes, they're 5,000ths of a GP.
Yeah, I think that's that's equivalent of 1 copper, but we can you know, moccasin moccasin paladin.
I always go for the bullseye lantern if I can afford it.
I think we've got enough for a bullseye lantern. Let's get some oil and a tinderbox of flint and steel, of course. The poor man's fireball, flasks of oil.
There you go.
Before we do this, we need a backpack and belt pouches to keep all of our crap in. Though.
Oh yeah. I'm not just gonna heap it in my arms.
Yeah, I'll go full Gygax on you. So how are you carrying this stuff? Well, I've got it in my pack. Did you buy a bag?
Did you ever see that Mitch Hedberg skit where, or his stand up where he's talking about he goes to the grocery store and he gets a dozen oranges and they're like, "Do you want a bag for that?" And he's like, "No, I can juggle."
That sounds. I God, I love Mitch Hedberg. I miss him so much.
A dog is forever in the push-up position.
I want to know who invented club sandwiches. That's a club I can be a part of. Tell me, what do you think of 3 slices of bread? I'm for it. What's your opinion on toothpicks with little foil ends? That's how that club started. You know what bread I don't like? Pepperidge Farm. Because when you open it, you still have to open it. God, I love Mitch Hedberg. I loved him. I used to do drugs.
Oh, man.
I still do, but I also did in the past.
I also used to.
What was the other one? It's like somebody said, "Hey, here's a picture of me when I was younger." Every picture of you is a picture of you when you were younger. Show me a picture of you when you're older. I want to see that camera.
I Iron Man says, Kit Kats are great unless you have 4 or more friends.
Oh my God. So anyway, so we've got some gear. We bought some gear. Now one thing that is on here that is not on armor are helms great and small. And the reason is there's some coding logic behind this. Anything that you put into the coding or into the table for armor lowers your armor class. I could not figure out how to make it stop reducing armor class by 1 by just buying a helmet. I've got a helmet and shield, therefore my armor class is that's not how that works. So I just put helmets as objects you could buy that just add to your encumbrance, and I assume that your character is wearing it.
Yeah, because the helmet doesn't add to your armor class. It's just if you don't have one.
It actually.
Oh, it does?
You don't know the helmet rule?
I thought it was if they target your head and you don't have a helmet, then you go 10.
That is correct.
Okay.
Intelligent creatures will target your head on a 1 in 3 on a D6. Your overall AC, if you don't have a helmet, cannot be considered higher than 7.
Interesting.
You have to buy a helmet if you're going to be in melee, because about half the time, an intelligent bad guy.
Yeah.
You go rushing into battle with your 2-handed sword and no helmet. That friggin' bugbear
on the poster, but you're not gonna make it.
Yeah, that bugbear just sees that bear melon coming at him, and he's like, we're eating good tonight, kids.
Did you ever watch the Star Wars prequels?
Yes.
So there's a Jedi that, like, he's just got a tiny little pea head and a super long neck. And I'm like, I know in a lightsaber fight, 90% of him is just blocking his neck, because everyone's like, I'm gonna cut that thing off. Look how long and skinny that is. That thing's coming.
I'm just gonna take that off. I'm not even a Sith. I just want it gone. I'm just gonna trim it right off.
Oh, I see you are countering my praying mantis with your giraffe style.
So anyway, yes, we buy equipment. We can be done.
Brian Reninger says, remember the no helmet rule when attacking magic users.
If a magic user dumb enough to be up there in melee combat. If you're not a fighter magic user.
And if you don't have a good friend who'll grab you by the collar and pull you back and go, no, because, well, here's another thing that I really appreciate from 1E that I did not see until I started playing. The idea that your referee is going to grade you based on your performance of how well you perform your role. So it's like, if I'm a magic user and I got 1 spell and I try to charge with the fighters, I should get dinged for that. I shouldn't get the
unquestionably. Yeah, unquestionably. It is also a fantastic way to remind people that they need to be paying attention to what's going on at the table. I've done it before. I've had people spend times out on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like now, fortunately, not with my current Monday night group or anyone on the live streams, but in the past, like, I've been on Discord and it's been like, this person is in Minecraft, and I'm like, haha, I get it. You know, it says you're in Minecraft, but it's like, oh well, I was just talking to so and so.
Yeah.
At least have the common courtesy to tell me, guess what? You just came to a poor rating for tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say it like that, but that I would weigh that in my head. So
John Strain asks, what's his name? Anybody in the chat, 10 made up bonus points if you can name the Jedi with the super long thin neck. The pencil neck Jedi.
Pencil neck Jedi. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's see. I will stop sharing that. I'm going to bring up the HTML sheet for this character. So let's go over here. I got to find out where he's at. Where did I put this guy? All right, Dunder Moose. We will look at his HTML file. And this is what it looks like. Now, I don't want to strong arm this, but I mean, honestly,
It's not showing up in my thing to put on the stage for you yet.
no, I haven't put it up there yet.
Oh, okay,
There you
gotcha.
go.
There we go. All right. Look at that.
So yeah, there's your character sheet. I don't want to twist anybody's arm. I don't want to give anybody a hard time about this, but guys, this is a great program. It really is. Here's our equipment: three iron spikes, bullseye lantern, backpack, a large pouch, 50 feet of rope. Didn't get around to buying the oil, but that's okay. We can load the character back in.
But the tables are like, they have a dark header and they've got the lines and the grid.
Yeah.
That's good stuff, man.
Yeah. And if text is your thing, there's a much simpler one. This is a nice touch. Now, this show HP calculation, I got to give a shout out to Doomsword. Doomsword actually helped me sort out the hit points calculation. This shows how many hit points you got each level as you go. So if you get level drained, obviously if that happens at first level, you're dead. But if you get level drained from, say, 4th level and you lose 1 level, and at level 4 you had 5 hit points and you had a total of 15, well, now you've got 10, and it will remember. And when you level back up, it will add the dice back. It remembers.
Wow. Yeah, because that's the thing is, if you rolled for level 4 and you were just unlucky enough to roll a 1, you're hating life. But then when you get level drained, you're like, oh, haha, I only lost 1 hit point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you lost all your other cool stuff too from level 4. Nobody's happy about being level drained, but
no,
that is cool that it keeps track of how much you got at each level.
Yeah. And I want to agree heartily with Dooms. This drove me freaking bananas in 1E, and it still does. You know, this spell is the same as the cleric spell of the same name, except the casting time.
Yep. And you got to keep flipping back and forth between them to see how the spell works.
Yeah. So, Joe Kaufman says he's been doing text. This looks better. Yeah. I mean, the HTML is nice. But yeah, I mean, any more questions about it? I will sit here all damn night and chew your ear about.
Yeah, there was a question earlier about Praxis Taliogaro says, does the encumbrance and movement rate calculate for magical armor and magical containers?
It does not, and the reason is the player's handbook does not allow the purchase of those, and to put to try and factor every piece of magical armor's weight, every potentiality, things like that, it kind of goes into madness. So at that point, your better bet is to just go ahead and, like, if you say, hey, right out of the chute, my character's got +1 chainmail, just make the adjustment on your text character sheet, and just do it there. The program itself does not factor those weights. It is strictly for what you can buy and begin with. Now, yes, you will get magic items and you will get that sort of stuff. It's kind of incumbent on the player to keep that tally, no pun intended, to their own thing. Now, there's a good question here. Brian Reniger asked, does it do height and weight? That is actually a fairly easy mechanical thing, and I'm going to look to adding height and weight in. But I also I'm a firm believer, and you tell me, Dunder, if you feel the same way. Charisma is not looks.
That's right.
Charisma is absolutely not looks. You can be as ugly as sin and have a heart of gold. You can have the beauty of Aphrodite and just be as black-hearted and evil and unappealing to anyone as anything.
Yeah, I think of it as inspirational leadership, right? Like the charisma is like, I want to go where he's going. I want to do what he's doing.
Yeah. Harmony is saying the tail end. This is halftime, baby. Meanwhile, Dunder Moose inside his head is like, please let me sleep.
Oh, I'll just fall asleep on camera. You have enough presence and experience. You could just go without me.
But But no, they're, so what your character's weight and height are almost a function of, I mean, I could add it as an option, I guess, if I want to roll up my sleeve and dig into the code again.
Where does it come into play? It really only matters when you do unarmed combat, right? When you're doing grappling, overbearing, or I don't. Does height matter in pummeling? It might just be grappling.
Yeah, height can matter for overbear and pummeling and that sort of thing. I tend to go with like an average just to make that part move faster.
Yeah.
And I want to correct something, Michael Dale. The program is $25. I did offer it to patrons and YouTube channel members who had been for a really long time, a really long haul from the get-go. I kind of did that because I owe my patrons and my channel members more than just the program. So it's not it's not free for paid members on my channel. In terms of oh, well, I can just subscribe at the $1 level and then I can have Crom, right? That's, no, unfortunately not. It is $25. So
I did want to point out, Jorge Yerby, is it Yerby or Urube? Let me know if you want to spell it out phonetically, but named Yarael Poof. Is that the name of the Jedi? Is that good for the 10 Dunder points? You get 10 mustaches for that. Man, his last name is Poof. Like I'm just picturing that's the sound that the saber would make when it hit that neck. You know, it would just be like all the water would just boil out of his neck and just. Anyway,
do you think it would be like a lizard tail, just kind of lie on the ground and wiggle for?
Oh, I don't know.
Because that species, as I recall it, like their brain is actually in their torso.
Oh, is it? Okay,
yeah,
so that's just like an eye stalk that you just blind them if you.
Yeah, it's like an eye, nose, mouth stalk. I mean, it would be horrible. You'd be staggering around, you know.
It seemed really rigid too. It wasn't like a serpentine, snaky neck. It was like, it was like a Batman neck where he's gonna turn it.
Yeah, yeah. This is going some very disturbing places. But
he can walk in the deep end.
Yeah,
he's gonna find out snorkel.
You can find out exactly what is clogging your J pipe.
Can you take a look down there? I got a hair clog in my drink. Oh, there's your wedding ring. That's ridiculous. We have jumped the shark, my brother. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I found a bicentennial quarter, a wedding band, and one of those little tiny rubber duckies that goes with a child's bath playset.
Is that the water should flow freely. I haven't seen one of those in forever.
Yeah. Joe Kaufman, he sucks at limbo.
This game is bullcrap.
Can you please raise the bar? Please raise the bar. This is why I hate Apple. This is why I hate Academy outings. Adam's apple. That guy's got an Adam's banana. Now, Dunder Moose, I'd like to talk to you about.
Oh man.
If you've got a minute, I'd like to talk to you about swing dancing. And if you got that reference.
Swing dancing.
No, we're not there. That just I'll tell you some other time. Anyway,
I'm like, man, you start talking about dancing and Jeffro will come back into the hobby.
Anyway, so Harmonisa, two of my favorite internet people. Well, you're one of my favorite internet people too.
That was nice.
Thank you. Never invites me on her show anymore, but whatever.
And you taught her how to play 1E, right?
Allegedly, if she says that she learned how to play 1E from that one evening, then I'm a better teacher than I had any idea that I was. But,
did you have Crom when she played with you?
No, I did not. We did it with dice, and bless her heart, she went down 3d6. Just
Oh,
boom, 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 boom.
wow. Not even method
So-
3. She just went for it.
A couple of adventurers, have a lovely evening. This is not my channel. I don't get to say goodbye to people.
Yeah,
Sorry.
thanks for showing up, bro. Good to have you with us as always. So if people have been tempted and they're like, man, I saw an example. I love 1E. If only the characters were faster. How would I purchase a copy of Crom for myself? Is it on your website? Is it on your YouTube? Is it on your Patreon?
The easiest way to get a copy of Crom is just if you don't follow me on Twitter, I'm _Dungeon Delver. You can DM me on Twitter /X. You can email me at bsylvie@gmail.com. You can just however you want to get a hold of me on social media, and we'll set it up. You throw me the idol, I throw you the whip is basically how it works. I don't have a storefront for it yet. I remember showing it to Eric Garland, and he was like, man, we could have promoted the hell out of this at EggCon. I was like, I suck at marketing the thing. I absolutely suck at marketing the thing.
We can't all be Kelsey Dion. Some of us have a ways to go before we understand how marketing works. Oh, Harmony, I forgot about that. She says, he taught me, and I read the books very soon after.
Yes.
Some before, so I wouldn't look dumb, but then I did the
devil tree.
I forgot about the devil tree. Tell me that.
You know the devil tree story?
I know, but I don't know if everybody knows. So go ahead and share it.
Okay, so the devil tree story is it's playing AD&D with a Harmony, and Ice. I'll just give his online Ice, and there was a villager telling her about there was deviltry. Deviltry. There was evil black magic afoot.
Skullduggery.
And just with the most sincere, she says, and where was this deviltry?
I love it so much.
And I, the dungeon master, am like, she wants to know where the creatures invaded the town. Well, it was over here.
Brian says it's next to the gazebo.
I go over to examine the devil tree.
Oh no.
I was like, and I'm still at this point, we are two ships passing in the night.
Like, you want to explore the devil tree?
I was like, okay, she's looking at the scorch mark because the town had been attacked by dark creepers. They're little like magical dwarf beings that burst into flames when they die, and one of them had gotten ganked by the town guard just outside the town. So I'm like, well, there's a scorch mark, so clearly that's what she's going over to look at. And it finally dawns on me that she's hearing devil tree, devil space tree. And at the time, I was like, oh yeah, no, like foul magic, that sort of thing. But it just, the tale has grown in the telling, to quote JR.
Oh man.
So,
well, thanks for being a good sport and being the one to bring that up, Harmony. That is one of my favorite stories. I think it's just hilarious. We are laughing with you, sister. We are not laughing at you.
We're not laughing at you. We're laughing towards you.
Yeah. We're laughing in your general direction.
But
that's awesome.
Yes, and that was somebody. I remember, this has nothing to do with the deviltry thing, but somebody like this, somebody made a crack on Twitter that that Harmony was that she was, and I still don't know if this person was being sincere or not, because it was like, well, she's in the film.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Are you? Is that how that got started? That she's.
That wasn't. I mean, I didn't. I was the one, but so somebody made the crack. You know, Harmony's in the film. So there's a photo of her and I at her house. And now I'm 6'4". That's not bragging. I'm a huge like I am the Patterson footage, okay? You know, as I'm moving across the forest there. So there's a picture of Harmony, who is, you know, the size of a normal human being next to me. And, you know, I'm up here. I'm like Nordberg from the Police Squad TV show.
Yeah.
You know, he'd walk in, Nordberg, you got some banana on the side of your face. You
Yeah,
see his
yeah.
hand come up. No, the other side, and and like a bunch of bananas falls.
It's like a poof Adam's apple drops out of the sky.
Yes. Okay, so someone made a 20-minute expose video about me, and they said I might be in a film or something. It was it's all coming back to me now. But so I made the joke that she is in a film. She is in fact a Nordic giant alien angel. I'm just standing much closer to the camera than she is.
There's a perspective.
She's like, yeah, it's forced perspective. She's like 25 feet behind me.
Well, I was thinking, because I almost went to Dave Con when she went, and I thought, if I get a picture with her, I want her to stand up on a chair and just like have my head be at shoulder height and just keep the myth going.
Oh yeah, I didn't
fun.
even think about that at the time, but yeah, I was so yeah, that's that. But anyway, guys, Crom is really good, and you should buy it. It's $25.
$25.
No, I'm sorry. I am working on another application.
Oh yeah, you mentioned this on the Tim Imholt show, well, right? Like, so Crom is for the players.
Crom is for character generation. The next application I haven't really decided on what it's going to be. I jokingly said I was going to call it Aragorn, and then I strung together some bunch of words to make that an acronym. But no, I don't know what I'm going to call it, but basically I want to do with it for Dungeon Master ease of use. Like, I need an encounter right now. I need a stack of treasure right now. I need, okay, the characters have encountered, you know, according to the charts, it's a castle, and it will just drop through and say, okay, it's a castle. It's this size. It has these occupants. These occupants are monsters, or these occupants are non-player characters. It's a 9th level cleric. He's got 2 7th level attendants. He's got blah, 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 blah. And just literally with a push of a button, it will do everything that the Dungeon Master's Guide, that you sitting there saying, hang on a second, guys. Okay, so you enter the first hex, no encounter on noon, no encounter at night. This will be just boom.
Like a zero prep enabler, just automate Appendix A, Appendix C, Appendix B.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I want to do things. I don't know if this will stick, but like NPC personality generation, you know, which is its own weird thing, because it's like, you know, they're haughty and classy, but they're also dirty and psychotic, you know. So like they don't.
That is the worst kind of haughty and classy, is when you're also dirty and psychotic.
I dated her, by the way, years ago in college, but
I think I saw her name written in a bathroom stall wall.
We all did. That's how I ended up dating her. Anyway, so but yeah, that is the next volume. The next step is going to be something that will just go through. I've already got jewelry and gemstones working. So if you want to generate gemstones or jewelry, that part works. Nobody asked me about being on beta. It is not, and it is not even approaching to where I would say, yeah, here's an early I want way more features implemented before I start showing it around. But it's I don't know when.
Proto thought right now, but it's
there is code down. There is a little bit of code.
I am not a coder, and I have tried to teach myself a couple times by doing like the online classes and stuff. But I feel like I would need to do what you did, whereas I would need a project for something that I wanted to create, and I would have to learn the code by building the thing that I wanted to exist. rather than trying to learn the whole language first and then make something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And so this is where anyone out there who has programming skills is going to do that horrible, that agony look zoom of the guy with the big fro, where it's like that. When I tell you guys, Crom, I wrote in Python, which is not cringeworthy. It is what it is. I could have chosen a better language and had to have learned that language. I knew a little bit about Python, very little bit about Python, and that got me started. But most of AD&D character generation is fairly simple. So I finished 80% of it in a few months. Wow. And then it took me that amount of time again to finish the last 20%. Because the last 20% was percentile strength, dual classing, stuff like that.
That's the thing is you don't want variation. That's the enemy of automation. And there's 1E has so many little different things, right? Like everybody has pretty similar rules for surprise, except the monk. The monk gets percentile surprise, right? So it's like, oh
yeah, and that is
that kind of stuff.
That too is something. That too is something I want to tell people. It's not going to be a combat simulator. There's not going to be a oh well, okay, come in here and you can run your combat turns off. I'm not doing that.
At some point they got to play the game, right? Like you can only help them so much.
yeah, exactly. But
Thomas Smith wants to know about my mustache. Is it a trucker, a Navy, a police officer? Which one? And Jorge is once again trying to score some Shroot bucks with Super Mario. Oh yeah, I forgot the monk also has fractional hit points and does fractional damage too, right? As he ranks up.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
Just to make it easy for everyone. Thanks for that.
Yeah, just to make it easier for me. But no. There's just a lot of moving parts that when I was working with Python, I'd be like, what does this block do again? Because I didn't comment it. And then there were times when I'd go back and there was stuff that wasn't working, and I would see like information in the program that was shaded out because I didn't have those things anymore, but the program was still functioning just fine without them.
Yeah.
Or I would have functions that were no longer called anywhere in the code. I knew how individual pieces worked. Understanding the whole and how I glued it together because I used so much Googling, because I did so much research rather than actually understanding it as these short spurts to try and just get. I don't care to understand. I just need this to work. It's probably the worst way to approach programming in the world. So, but it's done in Python.
But you're building something, and it's something that keeps your focus, which means that you can learn, right? Like you're learning as you go. You may not have done it perfect the first time, right? But
allegedly.
Hey, Griff's in the chat. What's up, dude?
Oh,
what the hell is a Dunder Delver?
But with the program that's to follow, this is the cringe part. This is where people are going to pull a face. I'm writing it in BASIC. And by BASIC, I don't mean Visual Basic. I don't mean any kind of weird object orient. I mean BASIC, because guess what? I found a BASIC that compiles down into C code. Wow. When you are done writing BASIC, you click the compile button and it generates C. I understand BASIC. I just my nerdy life growing up as a kid, typing programs in
right on, man.
My Commodore 64 and my VIC-20. If I wanted my computer to do something, grab a copy of Compute, start writing in BASIC. And that's what I did, Saturdays, Saturday nights, Sundays, Sunday night when I was supposed to be doing homework. I was working in BASIC. And I still, to this day, what I found when I started coding the next program was I still understand it and it still works. And QB64, you know, it's like if I want to jump to some part of the program, you know, in an object-oriented curly Q bracket language, God help me if I have a bracket over too far to the left or the right or whatever.
Yeah.
In BASIC, it's just line numbers and it doesn't care what I do. It likes me and I like it. And people can laugh and just. And
I don't even know enough to know what's funny and what isn't. So you're cool in my book, bro, because I can't do any of it. It looks like Griff is bringing the heat. As I recall, Dungeon Delver was the show who really covered the whole OGL scam when it was going on. Do you remember those days?
Yeah, I mean, well, that was like I did a live video, or not a live video. I just did a pre-recorded video about when the news started to leak in mid-January of 2023. And I had around 1,500, 1,600 subscribers, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I did a live video about it because people hadn't started really to talk about it on YouTube yet. And I got up the next morning and I had like 2,600 subscribers.
Wow.
And I just started keeping tabs open to Kotaku. And I mean, we can hate these websites all we want. They were getting information. There was like every 4 hours, there was another fuck up out of Wizards of the Coast. Emails being leaked about how employees were not told that this was going to happen, and now they've got people screaming at them. You had D&D Beyond breaking down because people were trying to unsub in protest, and then them telling customer service reps not to let people unsubscribe, and telling the programmers to hide the unsubscribe system. You had and it was, you know, they sent out a letter not to their employees, not to a front-facing thing where they could tell gamers, hey, you know, we get it. This is painful. Maybe we were a little short-sighted. Let's take a step back and talk to you guys. No, they sent it to influencers. They sent it to D&D influence. So Ginny D, the people at fucking Critical Role, they all got, you know, be safe if you have to step. And there's small publishers out there who just got a gun pointed at their head by Wizards of the Coast, hearing nothing from them. And this was happening 3-4 times a day. And every time, like, I would be doing a video, like pre-recording a video, browsers open over here, I glance over, I refresh, there's something new. I would finish the video, I'd upload it, I'd get a drink of water, stretch my legs, come back, record a new one, do a timed upload for a couple hours later.
Oh, that must have been exhausting.
Oh my God, it was.
But was it exhilarating too?
It was exhilarating because from January 15th until, I'm not kidding you, until the end of 2023, because when things started to calm down in the late spring, they sent the Pinkertons after a guy over Magic the Gathering cards. Right. And just the circus music just started again. And so I reported on that, and it was just like, somebody, I think it may have even been Doomsword, said that he logged into YouTube, or he didn't log into YouTube. He went to YouTube, not logged in, not on a device that he regularly used.
Yeah.
And my page was getting pushed to the front of YouTube.
Yeah.
And I was seeing people leave comments like, please keep reporting on this. This is like the news outlet for this that we're hearing. Now, quick timeout. I'm not saying that. People were telling me that. So I thought, well, I've got an obligation to do this now. I've got an obligation to report this as I do it. And I put the information out there as I got it. And they finished off 2023 by laying off like 1,000 employees from Hasbro or something like that, you know. And it's like It's like Kyle over at Nerd Cognito said, as they had me, wait, was I a guest on their show? I don't remember if I was a guest on their show or if I was just listening in, and I apologize because it was a minute ago and I have old person brain. But
He's
know,
been
Kyle
coding in BASIC. Cut him some slack, everybody.
But as Kyle said about the layoffs that happened right at Christmas, Charles Dickens wrote a fucking book about why that's a bad idea. So from literally for a year,
the Ebenezer move,
just stuff with AI, deleting Jeff Easley's signature off the D&D movie posters, the fucking the Magic the Gathering guy that they busted, absolute tofu drain quality, that deck of many things that they'd hyped up, insult after insult after insult to the fans. And it just there was nary a week would go by when I would report on this stuff, and I guess my channel blew up a little bit.
Do you think we're still dealing with the aftershocks of that time?
So it was probably a horrifying time. Yes, Praxis, no Gygax credits in the movie.
Yeah, no Gygax credits in the movie.
It was probably a horrifying time for Hasbro because the people who like OD&D, the old graybeards, the Wargamer crowd, the 1E, 2E, 3E, even the 4E and 5E fans and Pathfinder fans and all that, we did something that our hobby had never done before, except possibly with the news of the passing of Gary Gygax, and that was sad for like a week.
Yeah,
this was months of everybody in the TTRPG hobby turned and focused laser hot hatred directly at WotC and directly at Hasbro. We were unified in our anger at them. It wasn't, well, the 5e guys are cool with it.
Yeah.
And so they're assholes, and the 5e guys are like, no, you old grognards are assholes. We were unified, and that is the most terrifying thing. So Wizards of the Coast has finally in 2024, things kind of started to die down. They still screwed up a lot, particularly with the 50th anniversary being a non-anniversary, and that absolute slander that they put in that history of original D&D book. But things started to cool down, and now we've gone back to arguing with each other, which suits and serves Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
For me to to argue with somebody about third edition, which I don't edition war anymore. It's stupid and it's a waste of time. Play the D&D you love the D&D you play. I mean, I love first edition, and if you want the full Evangel, you'll get it both barrels in the face.
Yeah.
But there's just they haven't screwed up enough for everybody to get mad at them all at once. So they're pretty happy right now. So consequently, I've been interviewing a lot of cool people and doing a lot of live streams, and I haven't had a bunch in the way of other stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
I cannot swim in a constant sea of negativity. There's a woman who streams about Warhammer stuff. She's from Ireland. Her entire shtick, if somebody in the Games Workshop parking lot trips on a rock and skins their knee, she does a 40-minute video about how this is the end of Games Workshop and the destruction of the hobby as a company. And I can't remember her name, but she just goes on and on. I can't sustain that level of negativity. If Wizards of the Coast fucks up again, guys, I will land on them with both feet, but I can't just pick through the trash going, a Wizards of the Coast executive was seen wearing slip-ons. Does Hasbro secretly hate the shoelace industry? Here's a 20-minute video. I can't do that constantly, it will
It's not good for
burn
you.
me out. It will.
Yeah.
No, it's not good for me. It's why I don't get heavy into culture comp stuff. Outrage clicks, man. I got to absolutely outrage farm. But once that's gone, once the person or situation goes away, you've got to find something else.
Mm-hmm.
And my channel's been flat. Prior to January 17th, 2023, I was getting a sub a day, that I might lose 3, that I might pick up 6 on a good day. After January 17th, it's like, oh, look, I gained another 280 subs on this video,
Yeah.
And so
I do think there are still like some aftershocks hitting out. I mean, it used to be, 5e was like the big dog at the trough, and then the close second was Paizo, and then everything else was just kind of, niche.
Yeah.
And I'm just seeing so many games that have come out or are coming online now that were a reaction to those times, right? Like we got Draw Steel, we got Tales of the Valiant, we've got X. I remember, because it wasn't just D&D Beyond and WotC and Hasbro. It was I was worried about the stuff that was on my wish list on Drive Through RPG, and the stuff that I'd already purchased. Like there was even like talk that thing might clam up and you wouldn't be able to get to your PDFs and stuff, and it was just crazy times. I think we went a little bit overboard with the panic on some of that stuff, but it's easy looking back in hindsight. But I feel like that was the beginning of the end for 5e's dominance. And I think Kelsey, I've talked to her about this. She was on Harmony's show, the Random Table, and I mean, nothing against her, because she is amazing at teaching herself how to format. She is amazing at marketing. Well, part of it was she just had the right message at the exact right time for Shadow Dark to take off, when everybody was like getting ready to jump ship, and she just happened to have that Kickstarter, and it just went nuts. And just in case you thought she was a one-trick pony or that she just got lucky, by the way, her other Kickstarter for a Shadow Dark setting made even more money. So obviously there's something there. It's not just about timing. But I do feel like there's Daggerheart, and there's I can't even keep track of all of the new games that have come out, and I feel like a lot of them were a response to everything we've been building so far is under this license that they tried to take it away, and we could have lost everything. So we need to create something that is still enough to get the audience, but isn't beholden to someone who could just take their ball and go home for the whole industry, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I think there's a lot of people. I'm about to say something that seriously could get me into trouble with a capital T, but I'm going to go ahead and say this anyway. I've talked to smarter people than me. I've talked to people who have done this. They have swum in the shark-filled deep end of the pool when it comes to matters of the OGL and so on and et cetera. And to paraphrase my observation about the OGL, whatever they're calling it these days, is to paraphrase the great saying, the greatest trick the devil ever played was convincing people that they needed to sign that thing. Let me tell you what, in 1995, TSR opened their baleful eye and looked out on the internet, and they said, if you don't put your stuff under an agreement where you say that we can control part of this, we will absolutely crush you. In 1999, Wizards did exactly the same thing, but they said it nicely. They said it with a smile on their face. You got kids? Let me ask you that. You got kids, Dunder? Okay.
Yeah, I got 3 kids.
Yeah. when they were babies, did you, your wife ever just humorously say, "Oh, you're driving me crazy. I'm about to go outside and jump off the roof," so something like that. You say it in a kind of a silly voice, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not really mad at the kid, but you say it in a silly voice, and to their ears, it just sounds like happiness, and you move on. That is
They respond to
the
the tone and not the message, the content.
They respond to the tone and not to the message.
Mm.
TSR said, fine, you can create fan stuff. You have to host them on our FTP site or on our site on AOL. And we can own it if we want to. We can take it from you if we want to. And they said it in very harsh, ugly terms. And people were rightly afraid of TSR and their legal department. That is exactly, precisely what WotC came out of the chute with in January of 2023. But they tried to candy coat it, but it was exactly, precisely the same message. And I had been saying since 2000, even though I'd had one or two lawyers say, yeah, there's no logic traps in the OGL bill. It's fine. I've been saying, guys, don't put this shit on things you create. Don't acknowledge that they own the rules. It was proven in court in the 1980s.
Yeah.
That they can't. Now, they can engage in extended lawfare, nuclear lawfare against a small publisher. And a judge can say, you know what? Absolutely, positively. Dunder Moose and Dungeon Delver Gaming Company, you guys have every right to publish this with the words hit points and armor class and so on and etc. Go in peace. And we walk out of the court smiling, sweating, wondering, hoping that the attorney that we had to hire will take payments for all the work that we got them to do. And while we're on our way out, their legal team is already filing another suit against us.
Yep.
And until or unless a judge dismisses with prejudice, they can do it over and over
until we run out of money just defending ourselves.
Till
right?
We run out of money just defending ourselves.
Yeah.
And that is the unfortunate thing. No, we don't have to use we don't have to acknowledge a license. We don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
How bad do you want it though? How bad do you want it? And that's where we're caught between a rock and a hard place. And
because especially for people that it's more than a hobby, for people that it's their livelihood, it's like, if you've got kids, you're like, well, do I have the stomach for this fight or not? Do I just let the bullies have their way? It puts you in that decision, that point where you have to make that choice.
Yeah. And that's you asked about 45 minutes ago. Are we still feeling the repercussions of the, and yes, we are, because that sort of Damocles is over everybody's head. I mean, Wizards of the Coast could send me a cease and desist tomorrow and say, stop fucking publishing Crom and give us all of the money you made from it.
They expose.
I mean, legally, I could probably challenge them in court. Do I look like the kind of person who has the money to do that? I mean, they went after.
No human can take on a corporation unless you get like a class action where you get a bunch of people together or something, right? Like,
yeah. So I don't know, man. I'm not a lawyer, and I can't go any further talking about that without getting out into some real unknown territory.
Yeah.
I just think,
everything was going smooth until that happened, and then it's been
everything was
one thing after another. Like they had the pandemic bump, they had Stranger Things, they had Critical Role. It was just it was the perfect storm for the growth of the hobby. And I don't know, it's like a cycle, it's like a wheel. The fourth turning, the same kind of things that TSR went through. Where the bean counters and the suits got involved and just sapped all the joy out of it, and like almost like they're following the same playbook.
Yeah, it is scary how 1990s TSR. This is like, it is scary how 1980s TSR, 1990s TSR was
Mhm.
like. I mean, pick
There's
an
the
era.
same forces at work on these people high up in their organizations. Like the same underlying motivations and pressures keep funneling them, and either they didn't pay attention to when it happened to the company that they bought out, either they're just like they just hired some Microsoft video game people and they just weren't aware. I can't imagine that I don't know. I don't know how it happened, but
Yeah.
it is one of those things where it's like unless you address the root cause, we're doomed to walk this path. And I feel like when we were talking about that clubhouse thing that you were mentioning early on with the college kids,
Yeah.
and Bradford Walker, if you haven't followed his blog, his Substack, Walker's Lakeside Retreat, he's been talking about how the hobby needs to go back to the clubhouse, and anytime it's trying to be a big business has
Yeah.
been detrimental, and it needs to just get back to a bunch of dudes having fun, playing war games and doing silly voices in the clubhouse together.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That's 100% spot on. And I mean, all I can do in the interim is serve the hobby in my own way. You know, I'll report news when I can. I'll have cool people on when I can, and I'll keep working on Crom for you guys as
Right
long
on.
as I can.
What is it about 1E that has so captured you? Because as we've been talking, there were a bunch of versions that came out. There's a bunch of other games, but like guys like you and like Rick Stump and Anthony Huso, there is something about advanced 1E that gets into a guy and makes nothing else quite as interesting.
First edition AD&D. Now I have a little boilerplate spiel I'll go on about
Do it,
how
man.
1E is where the black magic is. I can never quite do it from memory, but first edition AD&D is like Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath. It's copied here and there in drips and drabs, some places in whole swaths, but it brings it together in its own unique way. It is the D&D of drug parlors and torture parlors and drow cities. It's the D&D of that has the naked chicks in the books and the blood dripping off of the swords and the demon art illustrating things. It's the D&D of Tomb of Horrors, the first and best, where if you screw up, it's not save and take damage, it's save and die, so you better not screw up. It's White Plume Mountains, it's against the giants. It's the D&D of Greyhawk, original Greyhawk, the Greyhawk that was not written by a revolving door of disinterested generic fantasy authors. It is the AD&D of assassins. It dares you to bite the apple and see eternity. It's where the black magic is and always will be forever. That's
right on, man. Right on.
But to get to the real, to kind of step away from the comic bookiness of it, AD&D is a conversation, particularly from the DM standpoint, but also from the player's standpoint. It is a conversation that Gary Gygax is having with you. When you're reading through AD&D, when you're playing AD&D, you are being part of something that is organic. It came up like a coral reef. It slowly grew into place and ossified and became something solid and real that you could touch, and there's a texture to it. And you know, the Dungeon Master's Guide is like it is a map. It is a map to a sprawling fantasy city, whether that's Greyhawk or Lankmar or Minas Tirith or Minas Morgul, as your taste may go. It is a twisting labyrinth where the streets and alleys shift every time, because it is all familiar, and you can step around a corner and find yourself reading about the healing properties of normal gems, or
Yeah.
what a particular herb does, or how much it costs to hire someone to make a new pair of boots for you. All that stuff is in AD&D and mythology. Gary's love of things Japanese just permeates so much of classic D&D. You can feel his love of storytelling, his love of adventure. And he says, do you want to come? Do you want to sit down at the table and do this too? I know lots of people personally who worked on first edition AD&D, and I am not taking a thing away from any of their efforts. So I will include them in this. It is like a letter from them to come and sit down and enjoy something that was grown organically, that wasn't designed by committee, to make sure it didn't offend, to make sure it didn't hurt feelings. It is just this Baroque loveliness, and you have to sit down and grind your way through the Temple of Elemental Evil, and then take on the giants and kick Loth off of her throne in the abyss, and then come home and slog through the Tomb of Horrors. You've got to experience that. And yes, the rules matter.
You mentioned that it's a conversation you're having with Gary, and whether you deserve it or not, Gary treats you like an equal in that conversation. There's like a respect in the language he uses to other game masters.
Yep. At the age of 13 or 14, when I got my Dungeon Master's Guide and I read it, I never felt talked down to.
Yeah.
I never felt like, okay, here's how you roll a die. Here's, it was all like, reading the Dungeon Master's Guide was, hey, Bill, you and me, we're going to get those suckers out there. Look at this.
Yeah.
You can convince them into thinking that this poison cloak isn't just like a cloak of protection. Try and get them to put it on. It's hilarious, Yeah. It was just that. It just, there's something. I can't. It's indefinable. I mean, why is Physical Graffiti the best Led Zeppelin album? I don't, because it is. Listen to it, sit through 10 years gone. The lament of Kashmir, the funky stuff of Custard Pie, it's you have to immerse yourself in it.
I feel like, I know that the wheels had already started to come off as when he was coming out, right? Like Arneson had left, and things had gone from the short-lived Camelot that was the promise of early TSR. But I feel like 1E, like you say, was the last time that it wasn't designed by committee, that the suits hadn't got their fingerprints on it. And like, for me, and I hope I don't hurt any feelings with this, but I lose interest when Unearthed Arcana comes out. I think the original 3 plus Monster Manual 2, Deities and Demigods, and Fiend Folio are like peak. And I feel the same way as you do. I don't know how to put it into words exactly. Certainly not as eloquently as you have, but
I don't know if that I'd call me eloquent, man.
Well, better than me anyway. I just know that I've tried to learn a bunch of stuff. The one that fascinates me, the one that, like you say, has that black magic, the one that I wish I was reading while I'm reading something else, is 1E.
Yeah.
And there's something about it. And as I said, you say it better than I do, but like that's the feeling. And I include the original. I include Zero-E and Chainmail in that.
Sure.
Those were still made by the
Yeah.
original
They
people
they were
for the love of the game.
They were war games. The wood grain AD&D sets were
Yeah.
supposed to last tactical studies rules forever.
Yeah.
When they bought 1,000, 2,000, I've heard anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000, sometimes 1,500 of those wood grain boxes. They were like, yeah, it's going to be popular, but this is going to last us a good long while. And by March they were gone.
Yeah.
Well,
Griff says it was the era of games made by gamers for gamers, and he's still getting use out of his original wood grain set.
Yeah. I mean, now it's made by a toy company. It's a product. It's a license owned by a toy company. And
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I don't edition war anymore. Everything that I just said, every bit of passion that I just said, maybe in 20 years, somebody finds this video kicking around the internet and they're like, but that's how I felt about D&D in 2024 when I was just a kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not saying that anyone's feelings I'm just telling you it started there, So I'm sorry, go ahead with what you're going to say.
I don't remember what I was going to say. It wasn't as important as that. Yeah, no, I lost it. But I remember what I was going to say.
Okay.
And this, I mean, we've already honked everyone off tonight, so I might as well say this.
Sure.
I feel like 1E was written so that you never needed to buy a module in your life. Like if you have the little brown box and Chainmail, or if you have the full set of AD&D that I described, using the appendices at the back of the DMG, you can create, not only in prep, but even at the table in the moment, you can keep up with your players and create an endless world for them to explore where you never need to buy a module. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't ever buy a module. Modules are cool. Right. There's a lot of history there and that kind of stuff. But like, I feel like that might have been part of the problem was they made a perfect product that once you buy it, you don't need to keep coming back for it. But when the suits get involved, well, what are we going to put in the Christmas catalog? What are we going to do next year? And yeah.
And I don't think it's particularly controversial to say that you don't need modules. I mean, now I found a lot of joy in modules, and if TSR had never published modules, maybe my entry to D&D never happens. And
I think there's
probably about half the audience would be like, oh no.
yeah, you started with B too, but I think there's a difference too between a module and an adventure, right? Like the module was, here's a place with a bunch of crazy stuff going on that you can plop into your ongoing campaign.
Yeah,
that to me is helpful because I don't need to try and jimmy what my friends and I have come up with to fit a setting that comes with a mega dungeon or to fit the overland stuff that comes, like a module. I can drop it in there and it's just another place they can go with weird stuff happening that they can interact with. An adventure, I think is, so I don't mean to seem anti-module, but I am kind of anti-adventure, if that makes sense.
No, I agree with you. I mean, people think of the Against the Giants series as these huge dungeon crawls. G1 is 8 pages long. G2 is 10 pages long, and I think G3 is 10 pages long. Module. What is the root of module? Or what is the root of modular? It's it's module. It was meant, it was to be a bare bones thing that you were to work into your campaigns however you saw fit and change the structure, alter the whole the contents of, if you felt compelled to do that. When TSR, and I'm not even going to lay this at the feet of Wizards of the Coast, when TSR got away from that and you started getting like these 65 and 70 page adventures, You know, it's like the whole thing is essentially a mini campaign now. It was like, you guys are kind of losing the plot. And then what is it? Wizards of the Coast started doing adventure paths, and it's like a 300-page hardback book.
Oh
where,
yeah.
like, you know, the nose hairs of the old fortune teller are detailed out down to the last. And you're like, I just wanted, I just wanted to
That was
kill
my
some
off ramp.
giants.
That was my off ramp from 5e, was when I got Curse of Strahd for my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized with the dads that I was running with in person that we couldn't meet every week. We couldn't even meet every month. Sometimes I was like, it's going to take us over a year to get through this, and nobody's going to remember all the stuff that they need to keep in mind to complete it. And that was when I needed to look for elsewhere. I do want to call out Praxis Taligoro has another interesting comment. They say, pre-written materials give gamers from different groups common experiences to draw on, so that discussions share a common language while meeting new people. That is valuable, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what happened when you did the Temple of Elemental Evil, and you know, we got lost in the nodes, and like, there are those touch points. Yeah, I guess I'm still processing that, so maybe I'm not
Yeah.
totally completely anti, but
Yeah, no, I feel like there's ample room for great stories still in modules. But yeah, I mean, you know, if somebody said, hey, I want you to run something, but just totally original, please don't run a module. I don't. We've played T1 to 4, we played A1 to 4, we played S1 through S4, we played G1 2 3, D1 2 3, and Q1, and so on and etc. Until we're blue in the mouth. Please think up something original. Sure, I got a whole folder on the shelf over here.
yeah.
That's my Castle Delve mega dungeon, and I've sent people in there, and they've had a lot of fun. I actually got a kind of a backhanded compliment from one of my players. She like grabbed me after a game one night. We were doing on Discord. She was like, I am having a lot of fun, but when are you going to run, like, when are we going to run a Bill Sylvie adventure? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, this published module you're taking us through, it's nice, but it's very slick. And I was like, I have done nothing but run improv game for the past 6 months.
Yeah.
I have literally, and she was like, so like that when we met the Brass Dragon family, and I'm like, yeah, I just thought that would be cool.
You know what? Some
like,
of the best sessions I've played have been like that, though. Like, I played Trilopulus when Jeffro was a DM, and one of the things that I learned from him was that he was constantly focused on what the players were fascinated by. And I mean, he did prep. He didn't run zero prep all the time, but he had mastery of the charts in the back of the book, so that he was free. If he saw that everybody was excited about something, he would just go in that direction instantly. And it really did pull you in a way that, like, I wasn't even aware that my preferences were shaping the world until I looked back on it later. I was just totally engrossed, you know? And I feel like with some of the modules, especially the big ones that Dungeons and Dragons is lamenting here, says, I love modules under 40 pages. I hate these 300-page campaign books in 5e. Sorry, but I have a full-time life. And to the earlier comment about, you know, the shared experiences, I don't want to feel like I'm stage running or like I'm the show producer for an episode, and I want to make sure my guys have the same episode as everyone else. It's like, no, there's no audience, there's no continuity editors, there's just your guys, and they're playing, they're in front of you, and how do you give them the experience that they're craving, divorced from any other expectations?
Yeah, I let me tell you what, this is a guilty pleasure of mine. God, I feel like this is like admitting that I eat a bowl of nerds for breakfast every morning, but I'm going to say it anyway. I will put on like D&D horror story YouTube in the background
Oh
when I'm
yeah.
around my office sometimes. And one of the literally like I've heard a lot of them that are just like, why didn't you just fucking leave? Honestly, why
Yeah.
did you
Why did you
just
sit
pick up
through
your
that?
stuff? It's like, so for the past 8 months, that guy has been making our lives hell. I'm like, God, the problem is you at this point.
Yeah, kick him out. Kick out
But
that guy.
yeah, but there was one I heard, and a guy got asked like at a comic store to run, I think it was Curse of Strahd. And the group was like, so they're sitting down together, and the spokesperson for the group, I guess, said, so you're not gonna like do any like funny stuff, are you? And he was like, well, I mean, what do you mean? And the guy was like, you know, like where you think you know better than the people that run the module. And he was like,
Oh my god.
well, I mean, you know, and the guy says, we've played this module 5 times and love it. All we want is for you to run the module exactly as it's written. No improvisation, no weird voices, no thinking you're like an actor, none of that. Just run the module as it's written. And he's like, you guys will know exactly precisely where everything is at all the time. And
So
he suffered through one session, and the spokesperson, as I recall, I may be making this up, but as I recall, he was like, he had it like on his laptop or tablet or phone or some shit.
Oh my
Was
god.
like keeping an eye on him, making sure he wasn't improving, acting like he knew better than that. I wouldn't have gotten to that. I would not have gotten to the waste my time point of that. I would have been just, you need somebody else.
I would have had Strahd pop out in that first encounter, you know, where he's supposed to scare him and establish the stakes. And I would have just let him kill him.
Yeah, just slaughter the entire party.
Oh, you beat Strahd in the first encounter. Nobody's ever done that. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah. Well, I gotta go. I hope you enjoyed your campaign.
I might recommend video games for people that want the experience you're asking. Yeah, Macho Man, I'll play a computer game.
Play a computer. Go play WoW. You guys join the same server, make characters. I was out of mana. What did you expect me to do? Sorry, if you know, you know. I was out of mana. What did you expect me to do? Is there any problems in the tabletop world we haven't solved?
I don't know, man. Yeah, well, let's just throw the grenade down the stairwell. How do you feel about one-to-one time?
How do I feel about one-to-one time? It can work right under the right settings with the right group. It does not work with every table. It does not work under every circumstance. I run a live stream 1E AD&D game on Tuesday nights. And it is by the book. The dice fall where they may. If there's a TPK, everybody's going to be making up new characters with Crom.
Harmony says, oh God, did DD just make a pirate software reference?
I did make a pirate software reference, Harmony.
I didn't catch that. She called it out for me.
I did make a pirate software reference. Oof. Yes, I did. You know, it's insane behavior. Absolutely insane behavior, dude. So anyway, I worked at Blizzard. Yo, Kronos, call legal. Let that guy know he's sued. I'm gonna stop now. So one-to-one time can work with the right group. It is not imperative that you do it every time, and there are times when it is not workable for it. My Tuesday night AD&D game, I mean, okay, we're going to track 4 hours in real time. Well, we only game for 2. And,
Yeah.
you know, I am doing this to help people understand the mechanics of AD&D, but also to have a good time with my friends, as we said on the live stream, going, you walk forward 10 feet. 1 minute passes.
We got $10.
Another 10 feet. Yeah. Oh,
Right,
I saw that. Thank you.
I didn't mean to step on your thing, but Dungeons and Dragons $10 says DMs don't need to have a degree in voiceover acting, just narrate. Yeah. Players have imagination.
Yes, exactly. But anyway, yeah. So,
hi, Agile Monk.
I don't know what one-to-one time is. Come on.
Okay, so I think
guys, I know. Harmony and I have talked about one-to-one time. I've looked into one-to-one time, guys. It works for some tables. It doesn't work for others. If it works for your table, awesome. It works sometimes for my Monday night game. And sometimes it doesn't. I mean, literally the party on Monday night is in the middle. They just finished a round of combat against the fire giant, against some fire giants in G3. I have extensive notes about what's going to happen when we come back to it. And then there are some nights when I'm like, okay, it's going to take you guys a send night to get from this point to this point. We are wrapping as you guys are leaving. And then I will inform them through the week as I roll daily encounters on their travels. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. And I'm okay with it if you can make it work all the time in your campaign. I can't make it work all the time in my campaign. I can't.
So that group with $2 says, Delver, one-to-one time is for days between sessions, dude.
Well,
and then Macho says, when no play is happening.
When no play is happening. Okay. Then that's, you know, I've heard people say exactly the opposite to me. Like, you can't just pause your game. You can't just pause your game. So what, you stand there for a week? And I'm like,
yeah, that's ridiculous.
So,
you know what? Although there are, so Alchemic Raker points out that there are places in the DMG where he talks about when you're in the dungeon, you can go into that one-to-one time in session where if they're arguing with each other, then the kobolds around the corner hear it, right? Or,
yeah. Now
but you can still you can still montage long travel stuff in session, that kind of thing.
And that's a perfect example right there.
I knew I was throwing a hand grenade.
No, that's fine.
$5. I think there's just an age where old people's brain breaks and they can no longer take in new information. We will hold it against you. Oh, I'm sorry.
You know, I mean, I've
for the $5 though.
I've sat there and I've, you know, the party has gone into, okay, well, wait, no. Okay. All right. So Jen's playing a halfling. We'll just tie a rope around her waist and tie that to a 10-foot pole and lower her into the pit and she can pick up the shiny. Well, I think that's dumb, because what if the shiny object is like and they're having this long discussion and I'm sitting there and people see me, like they see random numbers being generated. You know, the Dungeon Delver has rolled 1d6. The Dungeon Delver has rolled 1d6. And finally, somebody will say, guys, he's rolling wandering monsters. And I'm like, yes, because you're all standing in the middle of the goddamn dungeon hallway talking. This is not like you push the pause button on the game to have this discussion.
Jeff weighs in with come to the dark side. Flexi time is
sexy time. That's right, baby. Oh, yeah. If you need a minute to kick back and do your thing, flex time is where it's at.
If you want to stop in the middle of the action, then you can pause time.
That's right.
Oh,
don't get overwhelmed, baby.
Oh, man.
When do we get to vote on whether Dunder gets an invite to October's Call of Cthulhu game? Doesn't the mustache scream 70s? Well, hey, you know, I mean, you know, it could be. but there are many ways to approach the game, and as I don't think many of the people who are now throwing tomatoes at me were here at the beginning when I said what Gary said regarding the rules. I do not give a pinch of coon shit what you do at your tables.
Right. And so I did talk to Rob Kuntz, and he was, I don't think he said it on air, but afterwards he was Griff was there. He was pretty adamant. He was like, no, we never did that one-to-one time stuff. So take that for what it is, grain of salt. I'm not going to argue with people that have been doing this way longer than me and know way more than me about it. I will say that, okay, yeah, you might have logged off, Griff. Man, Kuntz stayed on with me for like an extra hour after the episode, just out of the goodness of his heart, sharing time with me. He's in Corsica, France. I don't even know what time it was, his time. What was I going to say?
Rob, spending time for hours.
Oh, it was going to be something about one-to-one time.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, one-to-one, like, so I know like Shadow Dark has like the torch mechanics and stuff, and there is like a case to be made for one-to-one time in session, but like for me, the one-to-one time between sessions where it's like however far we play out into the future, the DM calculates, what that is, and then at the end, if we go out more than 2 weeks, then that player is spoken for, and you can't use that player again if we play again next week. And that seems like a drag from one perspective, but the other thing that it makes you do is now you got to roll up a new, group of characters, right? Yeah. And so you can get to a scenario where you have two different teams that may not be played by the same guys, but they may be in opposition to each other. Like the example that I heard was, we're going to go clear out the first level of the orc dungeon. And so it's like, okay, it's a week out there. You spend a day or two clearing out levels 1 and 2, and then it's a week back. And then, okay, so you roll up a new guy, and they're like, okay, well, we're going to go visit that wizard in town. And he gives them a quest. He's like, yeah, I heard my buddy, the orcs, are having some trouble. They just got hit. And the people that stole from them are on the way back here. Can you lay an ambush on the trail and get their money back? And I'll reward you. And so now they have to make a decision. It's like, well, I'm role playing. I'm not that other character now. Do I lay an ambush for the other party that we're playing? And it creates these interesting conundrums and stuff that you just don't get if you remove the load-bearing rule that made that kind of stuff possible. Now, Rob, he didn't say it when I hung out with him, but I'd read him say it on Twitter before, that some of that stuff that Gary put that in there to keep the war gamers happy. Like there was like and you were telling me a little bit about before we jumped on, like the old school war gamers that just want to win. Like there's a certain cadre of those guys that maybe when it was just his friends, Gary didn't use all the war game stuff that he put into 1E, because 1E was supposed to be complete, whereas OE was like the anything goes version of the table. So I don't know if any of my verbal gobbledygook just tried to square the circle, the problem that I caused when I threw that grenade down the stairwell. But
don't worry about it, dude. I mean, I've been playing D&D with some absences here and again for decades, so yeah, certainly it's not going to fuss me now. But no, I again, Gary coon shit doesn't matter. So
that is such a colorful phrase.
It really is, Gary. I tell you what, people ask me sometimes, like, okay, you knew Gary. What was like the coolest? Dunder only throws it out so we send money. I gotta say some controversial shit too.
Let me have it.
Gotta bump up my supers. No,
say something that'll make them pick on me for a while.
No, people. Like this has nothing to do with rules or time or anything. People ask, like, oh, well, you got to meet Gary, and you've been to his house, and this, that, and the other. What was like the best? Like, and I think they expect me to say, well, Gary pulled out the map to the 9th level of Castle Greyhawk and
Yeah.
explained to me that the beholders were over here, and that the characters could get trapped in a giant pinball machine over there. My most fun experience with Gary uh, was the last time I saw Gary um, before he passed away. Was at LGGC, Lake Geneva Gaming Convention, and for all of us who were working on projects for Troll Lord Games, Gary had a dinner at his house the Friday. I don't remember. I want to say it was like the Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was kicking off at 7:00. Now I'm a guy, I will be outside your door at 6:59 with my hand raised, ready to knock. Okay. That's just how I do. You said 7:00. I'm not going to get there at 7:15, 7:45, but everybody else is still off over at the Cove, wrapping up gaming, getting, drinking, whatever. My wife and I, Mrs. the Dungeon Delver, and I go to Gary's, and we get there before anybody else. And we get there, and nobody else has shown up. It is me, my wife, Gary, and Gary's wife at the time. And they were so congenial to my wife and I. And my wife at the time, she was pregnant with our second.
Mm-hmm.
And Gary's wife doted on my wife. It was like, well, Gary, make sure the fan's pointed at her. Make sure she's comfortable. Honey, do you need another pill? And we sat there probably for 45 minutes before anybody showed up. And we didn't talk about the history of D&D. We didn't talk about TSR business. We didn't talk about how far can a kobold throw a goblin. Gary and I talked about dad stuff. We talked about, is it Father's Day weekend was that weekend. And Gary and I just sat there and talked the pros and cons. Did you co-sleep with the kids when they were young? And it was such a pleasant experience. It was like going out to the country to see an uncle that you hadn't talked to for a long time. And it wasn't, again, there was no, well, let's talk about S3. Let's talk about what, your favorite dice are. Did anybody ever pin any minis? We just had this wonderful, lovely time. And of course, other people showed up and wanted to talk to Gary and so on and et cetera. And, we ate and milled around a little bit and said our goodnights. That is probably the most, fun, the best time I ever had with Gary. I'm sorry, it's so bucolic, it's so normal, but that's really it. I'm afraid I have no true is it LLOTH or LOLTH or this, that, or the other. But it was to sit back, and I think maybe I can break my arm patting myself on the back a little bit here. I think maybe Gary enjoyed me not showing up and fanboying and nattering. I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to.
Yeah, I'm sure any of us would have wanted to, but
we sat and we talked, and it was just a good time. And that is the best Gygax story I have. I have best emailed him.
Story you have.
There's an hour-long interview I did with him on YouTube on my channel. I've got emails saved somewhere to CDRWs that he and I exchanged, but that's it. That's really the best Gygax story you're going to get out of me when it comes to talking to Gary.
Yeah. Well, that's I feel like this conversation has been all over the place, bro, but I feel like we kind of ended back where we began, as far as like the games were just a means for connecting. And it happened for you and I when we were kids moving to a new school. And I mean, who on earth was able to actually spend some time connecting with their hero like that? But there comes a moment when the game isn't the important thing. It's about the brotherhood. It's about that respect. It's about that connection. And that's something, as you pointed out, that we need to jump on it and make those connections and have those relationships while we can, because it's not an infinite window on that.
Unquestionably,
Yeah.
particularly when we're talking, as you said, we've come full circle because we talked about the TSR veterans. But I have to say, the connections I've made, particularly since I started really leaning hard into the YouTube channel,
Mhm.
I wouldn't trade this for the world. If we were all scrimshaw enthusiasts, if we were all antiquers, if we were all 12-string guitar students,
Ventriloquists.
ventriloquists, whatever, the fact that I've connected with so many people, I mean, my community sent me and my wife to GaryCon in 2023. They just decided we were going to go. And one awesome person, his handle's Bluto. I'm not going to dox him. He and I became friends on a college football forum. I had never gotten to go see the Alabama Crimson Tide play football ever. I grew up in Alabama when Bear Bryant was the coach.
Oh man.
And we lived 90 minutes from Tuscaloosa, but we were poor. We could never go. And they've been to the Central Florida area. They played in the Citrus Bowl. I've missed it time and again. I had tickets. I had actual tickets to their rivalry game, the Iron Bowl in 2018. I couldn't make it. Bluto said, this aggression will not stand. He went, he got on my Discord. He started private messaging people and said, I want to get Bill to an Alabama game. And they said, yeah, but what about getting him to GaryCon? And he is not a D&D guy. And he's like, okay, what's GaryCon? Okay, I guess we can do that too. He burned travel points. He rattled the tin cup they sent me. That is an amount of community that I would not trade for the world. I found out that Harmony lives on the other side of the county from me. So I got to, so many wonderful people that I'll never meet, but I found out one night she was guesting on T-shirt at Historians, lovely stream. I mentioned I was in Central Florida. She said, where are you in Central Florida? I said, blah. I said, blah. We figured it out. We're 20 minutes from each other. That's a human connection. Whether you get to know Gary Gygax, whether you get to know Dave Arneson, whether you get to know Alan Hammock or Errol Otis or Darlene, or if it's just the people you meet and you care about, make those connections, hold on to those connections.
Right on.
And the fact that we all connect through something as stupid fun as Dungeons and Dragons and can make fun of each other over whether or not the game has a goddamn pause button built into it is the most wonderful thing in the world. And I would not trade the connections I've made, particularly this most recent connection with you, for anything in the world.
Thank you so much, man. Thanks for accepting the invitation and coming on. This may be my best episode I've ever had. I want to thank everybody in the chat for challenging us, for cracking us up, and I can't say anything better than what Bill said. Use the game to make the connections, but don't take the people for granted. And if you for some reason are watching this and you're not subscribed to the Dungeon Delvers channel, definitely. Yeah. That's not actually a thing. If you like this kind of thing, these kind of long form interviews, and you want to see more of this, feel free to subscribe to my channel as well. And thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for coming out, guys. And we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.